rock and roll today. Hopefully all the desktop audio is good. I might need to switch up the, I may need to switch up, I might need to switch up, where my, like, master volume is, but I figured I would just farm some events, because I need to for the Sky Skill stuff anyway. Oh, I remember this one. Okay. Unlike Final Fantasy, Guild Wars 2 does not really have, like, maybe it does, and I just don't know enough how to see it, but it doesn't seem to have the same sort of, number type thing. So I'm not really sure, because I know that on, Final Fantasy, like, it's, 2021 is kind of what works best. But on Guild Wars 2, it's kind of similar, but I have to kind of guess. Okay, I'm looking for survivors. I know they're, like, in the houses. But not all of the houses are enterable. So, there's a couple. There's one.
Do you know what's going on? Does anyone?
And then...
Is it safe to come out now?
Alright, for a second I thought I was on my warrior. I'm like doing a new berserker build with a bow and arrow. And I was like, oh no, immune to burning. And then I'm like, no wait, I'm on Revenant. Or Renegade. I'm on Renegade. Not the same. Wait, I think I saw a house that could enter over there. Yeah, okay. Still not very good at using the sky scale.
Is it safe to come out now?
I think there's one up here too. Maybe? Nope, just books. Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of sad that like housing doesn't work the same way in Guild Wars 2 that it does in other games. Because I feel like a lot of the like housing assets or like stuff that they have is actually pretty cool. But like it's more like you have a home instance, which I mean has pluses and minuses. Usually if something, I don't know, part of me wants to see if I could like fall through the roof, but I was like that'd be like a colossally bad idea. Maybe do a little bit of a less roof falling. Okay, that looks like a place I can walk into. Yeah, just landing right in the fire. Why not? Survivors. Any? Nope. Actually, was that interactable? No. Okay. Was a glowing scroll, though. Kind of wish it was interactable, but most things are. There's a... I'm trying to remember... This is kind of the outskirts. Yeah, there's one in there. Alright, into the fire.
Thank you, stranger. I was starting to think no one was coming.
And then there's one that's like on the border near the new Rodasum. Hang on, that's interactable. What can I do with that? Oh, I have to train lesser arcane. It's a map treasury thing. I will do that after I get this done. Okay. I don't think I'm going to get this done in the time limit, just because I'm bad at finding things like this. But... Even if I fail, I'm still gonna get something for participating in it, so there's the hope. It's one of these little, like, houses here. I remember last time as well. This whole stacked up map system. Maybe it's not this house. Maybe it's the one below. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. I need to figure out how to get in. Yep, okay. And just straight into the fire every time.
This is just too much. I gotta get out of here.
Else? I thought that storm was
And
going
then, trying to remember, there is one. Okay, let's get out of sitting in fire. I accidentally spawned into where the Earth Champion was earlier today, and I was like, oh fuck, because that's a group event, and I was like, no, I don't want to die. I thought there was one little more, but I could be wrong. There's some other people working on this too, so they might have already gotten them. This is out of the event zone. Not to say that sometimes things aren't not out of the event zone. Okay, yeah, that person got them. Yep, I don't need the dialogue option to respawn. Yeah, we're looking for the last probably 2-ish survivors. Do not target me. There's one.
After everything else,
Still got some more.
the end of us.
2, 3-ish. Just right through fire. Okay. Oh, hey, they found it. Alright, cool.
Stick close together, everyone. Everything is going to be okay.
I'm not proud of what we caused here, but I'm going to do what I can to make it right. Thanks for helping out.
Alright, I will take this. Definitely need the karma, so that's good. Swatchity over. I have my Must Love Pitbulls mug today because the UK is trying to ban all pit bulls and pit bull type breeds, and they don't, which is dumb. And I feel like there will be other options to take before it gets to that point, but you know, politics and common sense don't really go hand in hand. Oh, this event's up on this map too. Well, I guess I can double stack. I mean, I'm already here, may as well. Oh yeah, it's in there. That's where they were. Just didn't see it from this angle last time. It's gonna give me a space thing, yeah. Because there are some in there. But there are also... Okay, I think this person's gonna go get those ones, maybe. I'm gonna go get these guys.
We're going to die here.
Can I do this? Yeah, I need to train Greater Arcane Treasure Mastery for that. I've been working on training everything for the Sky Scale stuff, so it's not been as I think this person already got all of these guys, but I'm gonna double check and make sure. Yeah, no, they did not get the ones up here. I think they just went and got the treasure thing.
Please just let me get through today.
Okay, well, I feel good about that for now. And I think let's see if there's a rift nearby. Oh, I can't teleport directly there. I can teleport here. And take that. Okay. Let's hope I get there in time. Yeah. Hey, Nero! I don't know if I'm gonna get there in time for the rift. I guess we'll see. Some height, and let's go. There we go. Is that it? Huh, that's a new one. Alright. Let's do this. I will say, the only thing I didn't really like about Secrets of the Obscure so far is how much just event grinding there was. Because usually there's like an event grinding thing at least once. In End of Dragons, there was one. It just, you know, at least it was, there's one in the like Seton province or whatever. Like it was there once. Like it wasn't crazy. But like this one, it's like every couple quests there's like some event rift closing grinding, and I get that like that's a thing, like this is all about closing rifts and you're not really doing other things like looking for hero points or anything like that, which I'm also a little bit saddened about that. I know they're not doing new mastery I know they're not doing new, like the whole like weapon hybrid thing is the new like thing, and they're not doing a new elite specialty, but like I was kind of like, oh, we could also be doing like, we could still have the hero points, because that would be helpful for people leveling and grinding up and stuff. I already know that recipe. Okay, I do need these for dragon sky skill things, and I need karma, because I kind of used a lot of my karma to get back pieces. There's, oh, I guess I could see if they need help with Galen up here. I'm doing okay, you know, still a little freaked out from, oh, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to I'm still a little, like, freaked out a bit with all the job stuff going on. I don't know if this is the case, so I don't want to, like, say for certain. Okay, they killed Galen. But, like, part of me is kind of wondering if my coworker maybe found out about some of my some of my disabilities. Which, according to the Americans with Disabilities Act, I don't need to disclose any of that. And it doesn't interfere with this job. But I've had this happen before in jobs where people, like, I don't hide who I am. Like, if they ask, I'll tell them, but a lot of times they don't ask, or I don't know if, like, a reference says something because of, like, my past working with the Department of Rehabilitation or whatever. But, I kind of am suspecting that maybe either a reference said something or something else kind of came up, and, they maybe found out about some of my disabilities and don't think I should be working there for whatever reason. There's a lot of stigma around post-traumatic stress disorder, in particular, and a lot of people don't want someone with post-traumatic stress disorder at their job. And it kind of sucks. And there's also stigma around people on the spectrum too. But yeah, a lot of people don't think they don't want people with post-traumatic stress disorder working around them. There's a lot of stigma around people finding you dangerous or a danger to society, or I don't know. And then with the whole, like, on the spectrum thing, there's a lot of, like, oh, I support that, but I don't want to work with it. And, like, again, I'm not, like, I don't actively hide it as much. Like, I don't need to disclose it. The law says I don't need to disclose things. But some people, this is why the law says we don't need to disclose things, because some people judge you for it, and they will deny you job opportunities because of preconceived notions of things that are just incorrect. Or, again, there's a lot of, oh, I support people like that, but I don't want to work with them, or I don't want to interact with them. Like, I just don't want to deal with it. And I unfortunately just live in a very snobby area with people who are just kind of like this. And I've just had to deal with it for a while. A lot, actually. But this isn't the first time I've had something like this happen. But I also don't have any proof that, like, this is what's happening. So part of me is, I don't really want to say that that's, like, 100% the case of what is happening, because it might not be. Like, she might just not like me because I'm young, or I was brought in to help change things for the better, and I have new ideas about what can be improved, and she doesn't want to deal with that, and I'm kind of replacing someone who's been there for 3 years and wants to phase out of the company, and maybe she doesn't like me for whatever reason. There's also a lot of judgment about younger people in the workforce, and that we don't want to work, or that we shouldn't be in positions of management or decision-making positions. Yeah, I mean, she's not a manager. Like, the thing is, like, it's a weird situation. There's not a very clear hierarchy, because it's not a clear situation. Like, she's the head secretary of the front office. I work in the back at the lunches. There's not really a clear hierarchy of who makes all of the decisions. And that is where a majority of the issues in this job lie, is because there's not a very clear chain of command. And it's not really well established of things. And so I might just work till the end of the month, get my paycheck, and bounce, like, honestly. Because I'm just seeing a lot of red flags that make me think that the employment doesn't have their shit together. And I also just, like, she's been making life a living hell for me this week. Which kind of is one of the reasons I think that maybe it's an issue with, kind of one of the reasons I think that maybe it's an issue with, her finding out I had some sort of mental health issue or something like that. Because usually when people do something like that, they want to fire you or get rid of you, and they know they don't have a way to do that, or they don't have a legal reason to do that, or any evident reason to do that, and so they're just trying to push you out of the company, and they're making life a living hell so that, like, you will leave on your own terms. And as much as I would like to, you know, be a badass and outweigh things, I'm also, like, this was never gonna be, like, I didn't enter this job as a permanent job. Like, it's a lunch job for, like, a school. Like, I never entered it as, like, a permanent job. I entered it as, like, a job to get some money while I kind of work to get something better. So, I didn't enter it as, like, this is something I'm gonna be doing long term anyway. So if she's just gonna make life living hell for me, it's not really worth it. Like, this job has no career opportunity. Like, I don't want a job that doesn't have an advancement career opportunity. This is, like, something I was just gonna do while I was working on getting a job with a little more advancement, or training for a job with a little more advancement and career stuff. So, like, if she's just gonna make life a living hell anyway, and, like, to be honest, nobody's gonna take this job in the area I live in that is as fundamentally expensive and flawed to live in. Nobody's gonna take this job as a main job. So if she wants somebody who's gonna take this job as a main job, that is insanely naive. There are some people who do it as a part-time job with their other job, and, like, that's great, but I can only work one job. Like, that's the thing. Because of my disabilities, I can really only work one job. So this was just a temporary thing anyway, so I might just cut the cord and run. Because I've just had this happen so many times by now in the area I live in, where, like, people find out, either from past employers or something, that I have disabilities, and they essentially make life a living hell for me until I leave. And while that is illegal to do, it's one of those illegal things that is not enforceable, because finding proof that that is essentially what is happening is finding proof and proving said thing is insanely difficult to do. And it would be more money to do that and to pursue that than it would be just to cut the cord and find a new job. So, I mean, again, not the first time this has happened to me. Probably won't be the last. And I don't really have... like, a cushion system, and I don't know. I'm just seeing a lot of red flags in the first month I've been working this job, and I don't really know if it's worth it to stay. So... yeah, I've been freaking out because this week's been a living hell, and I've been, like, busting my ass this week. Like, one of my coworkers was on vacation, so I had to be there solo. I didn't ask for help at all. I handled everything perfectly well, doing everything solo, and I got, like, just absolute shit from this person for basically, essentially, doing what I needed to do. And I don't know, I'm just like... okay, this is apparently, I was hoping it would be going the other way, not this way, but apparently this ley line, how do I get out of the ley line? Thank you. Apparently that ley line goes backwards. I don't want to go backwards. Aw, thanks, Nero. I'm trying. I try very hard. Do I always succeed? No, but the point is that I try, so... I mean, yeah, the thing is, like, I'm working around kids, and if she found out I have, like, PTSD especially seems to be one where people think, oh, if you have PTSD, you're somehow some sort of like loose trigger out in the world, and that you're gonna do something like dangerous and stupid. And it's like, no, my parents just fucked me up to the point where it's very hard for me to function. Like, I'm not gonna do something stupid. like my parents, and I had teachers that would basically fuck me, like they fucked me up. Like, it's not. They're a little better. The main issue I have with them is that my sinuses are, because of the nerve damage and also the skin issues, everything that's going on with my ears is like so far down that like both the ear nose and throat doctor and the dermatologist were just like, yeah, you're just gonna bleed that far down and there's really nothing you can do about it. And I was like, well, that's great, thanks. But I think I managed to get some of my medication all the way down there. It's not pretty and it's really uncomfortable. But it happens, yeah. I don't know. Today is kind of, I'm gonna call it an existential crisis day. Let's go with that. I really just want to like farm some events and beat the shit out of enemies in game, and that's what I'm gonna do today. Sometimes you need to play a game where all you can do, like, sometimes gaming is very helpful because I'm trying to figure out where I need to go for this. I'm gonna go here and then reset and just see. I need to like farm some of these for the sky scale stuff, but oh, is this, oh, there's only, oh, transport will begin then, okay. Well, I guess I'll do this event, see what happens. It just hasn't begun yet. Okay. The little orb is there. Last time I didn't get this done in time, but the time before that I got it done in time. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure out. I also know that sometimes slow and steady wins the race here. Occasionally. Possibly. Use that ley line a bit to my advantage. I'm not going to be anywhere near the speed of some of these guys. Okay, where am I going? Here's where I'm going. Okay, I can do this. Maybe, possibly. Seems like there's multiple ways of doing this. Maybe. I'm not really good at the races. Like, I know there's a lot of races in this game, and you can race your mounts to do them, and a lot of people get really into them. I am not good at them. If I succeed, I'll be happy. I don't think I'm gonna succeed. Oh, hey, I actually got first place. That is the first time in my couple years playing this game I've gotten first place. There must not be a lot of people doing it, because, like, goddamn, that was slow as fuck. Alright. Where to next? Oh. Is it in New Kaineng or here? No, that's a champion. It looks like it's straight ahead, so that would be New Kaineng. Okay. Maybe it's that? No, that's like the Naga event. Okay, not in New Kaimeng. Maybe. Yeah, this is the Naga event. Okay. I could do that. I already have the achievement associated with that, so I don't really want to do that. I really just want to, I need to get the orange things, which you can only get from doing Rift stuff. So I mostly means that I'm just doing Rifty things. Because I want to get stuff for Sky Scale. Alright, I got here at the end. But as long as I get here before the champion goes out, I should be okay. Is that the raptor? Huh. I am really liking Renegade. I had to kind of switch up how I did things with Revenant. So this is Revenant Renegade class. And I kind of had to switch things up a little bit with how I was doing it build-wise. But pairing this with the, relic of, the Thief, which is, like, anything that has, like, a recharge, or energy cost, like, grants you, like, stability or something, or extra damage like that, is really good when dealing with Revenants, because everything has some sort of resource cost. So I was like, oh, I can do that. And then I wanted, I did a couple things for stability, and a couple things for, yeah, like damage increased, strike damage increased. So I'm kind of liking what I did with this build. Again, I hate leveling Revenant, but I really do like Renegade, and Herald is actually kind of interesting too. I like it. I like being a Renegade. I hate leveling Revenant. But this was just the class I had around. I think my Firebringer main right now I'm using mostly for like raids or anything like that else because they have the most like agony resistance. So I've been using them mostly for like anything that's very like group oriented. But if they need me to play something else, I'll play something else. But I gotta farm some of this stuff for okay. And because I want to get the Sky Scale mount, and I have most of what I need, but I don't have all of what I need yet. And I'm really close to being able to unlock it. But also because this expansion, I also think playing a Renegade is a lot easier in this expansion because of how much it's focused on group content. And Renegade's kind of like a support DPS. Like, similar to how Summoner is in FF14, if you play it like that, I guess. But, it's very support DPS-y, so in all of this, like, you know, tons and tons of grinding and group content in Secrets of the Obscure, having a Renegade is actually kind of useful. I'm also glad they finally made it so that I can deposit those in my material bank. Is it just the other rift? Is that already respawned? The two rifts here that are like right across from each other is kind of a, no, okay, it's a little bit farther ahead. Trying to think it can be there, because that's already... Okay, through the waterfall probably means it's maybe by Drunker's Light? Yeah. Okay. Oh, I did not time that correctly. Oh well. I actually really like the dwarves here. It kind of makes me wish they made dwarves a playable race in this game, because the dwarves are just kind of like really tiny Norn, and I'm like, that would be amazing. I know they're not probably gonna do that, because that would be a lot of revamping, but I kind of wish they would, because like the dwarves are very interesting in Guild Wars from like a lore perspective, because like outside of Secrets of the Obscure kind of area, most of them got turned to stone. And in Secrets of the Obscure, everything's kind of like, it's this weird like time zone thing of like what could have been. And it's just very interesting to be like, oh, like the dwarves seem really cool. And actually the music in here around Drokar's Light is like super fun and very Celtic and just kind of, you know, which I guess makes sense considering a lot of Celtic lore involves like the gods and goddesses turning into like the Fae and stuff. Different things like that. Oh, that's a fun one. I don't know, I might have to... Let's get this person up. What? Are you dreaming? What's going on? Why are you barking? My mom is camping, so I'm on dog duty a bit more than usual today. It's just me home alone. Probably not something I should advertise on the internet, but if you really want to go challenge the house with 3 massive dogs, then you get what's coming to you. You little jade bot. I got this little like dragon skin from it in treasure chest. Yeah, we don't really have enough people. Okay. I mean, fortunately, they do seem to have scaled it pretty okay. Because, like, my main concern, when I saw that a lot of this was going to be, like, closing rifts and stuff, my main concern was, like, oh, if they don't make this something that, like... Because, like, this expansion is great, but it's not, like, I was worried about, like, what happens when the hype dies down. Because, like, if you kind of, view, like, Heart of Thorns, essentially, it kind of has this issue where, like, a lot of the stuff that, like, is... A lot of the hero points are group content, and not enough people... And when they say group content, they mean, like, champion-level group content. And it's just... Heart of Thorns was, like, their first big expansion, and not enough people play it. And there's people who do, like, hero point parties, where they go around and do all the hero points in the map, and that's really cool when they do that. But, it doesn't happen as much as it should, probably. So I was a little worried about replayability when I first saw it, but it does seem like these are scaled semi-okay enough to the point where I'm not as worried. I'm not gonna get there in time for this one. Yeah, they got there just as okay. But it does seem like it's managed fairly well here. Okay, back up. How nice. Gonna try to like... There we go. No, still not high enough. Is there a way? Yeah, there is a way. Okay. I am still not great at the sky scaly stuff. I'm getting better as I unlock more abilities for it. I'm kind of on the final tier of it. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna double back and take... I mean, I don't really like the locations for this expansion as much as I think some people do. Nope. I didn't know that it was gonna back me up. But also, like, I like the concept of, like, oh, what if we, like, had a, you know, a what-if scenario for the game? Like, what if this happened instead of this time-wise? What if that happened instead of this other thing time-wise? Which is, you know, interesting, but it does kind of... Okay, so this is just back up here. It kind of just, like, it doesn't, like, the lack of new areas is kind of sad to me. And, like, we do get, like, amethysts and, like, this area, which is sort of loosely inspired on, like, Norn stuff. But, like, instead with the dwarves, I don't actually think I've been in here yet. I don't know if I'm gonna... Okay. Oh, I have been in here. Yeah, no, I've read that. Hopefully I can scooch over here before they kill this. Did not work out to my favor. I'm still working on doing precision with some of these sky scale attacks. Precision is not my strong suit. I know how it works. I'm just still figuring out the best way to do it. Sometimes my finger initiates before my brain has time to be like, that's not correct. That's not where the fireball is going to go. Oh my god. I mean, if Wizard's Tower spawns, that'd be cool. I don't know if it will, though. It's not always successful. I feel like I've been part of more successful Wizard Tower stuff lately. But that being said, I still have also been part of a lot where it does not work out. But I also think that, like, more and more people as they're entering the expansion and kind of figuring, so if that's down, would that be over here? I'm not good at finding these. Oh, nope, even further down than that. Okay. But yeah, I think the more and more people that are kind of getting to know the expansion and how a lot of the new stuff is functioning, the more it's getting better. Nope, and I overshot it. Okay, great. Well, okay. That one I at least got correctly. You know, 1 out of 2. I was really excited to see that one of the characters in this expansion was named Lur, because that, well, actually, I was more excited that I had said that name right, because Lur is a god in Lur is a god in Celtic folklore. um, like of ocean and wind and stuff, for the most part, but like most things that have been rewritten by Christianity, it's a little complicated. And I've only read about it and I've not heard anyone talk about it, so I wasn't sure if I was saying it correctly. And it turns out I have been saying it correctly, so I was very happy about that. I was like, oh, hell yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of words that I read and I butcher, and people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Those are cool weapons. Can we get the... Like, it just picked up its own arms. Why can't we get weapons like that? That'd be cool. I want weapons like that. I don't want to get hit by them, but I would like them. Take this away. Hell yeah. I will know when I am done farming rifts, because I will have enough of these things that I need to get them out of my bank. Oh, what's this? A gearbox. Okay, I can't actually teleport there. I might as well just try to fly there and see what happens. Let's see if I can make it. Probably not, but let's figure out. I can maybe aim for one of these floaty things. Let's see if I can make it. I don't know, but let's find out before I lose height. Whee! Keep going. Come on, lift me up, lift me up. Thank you. Hell yeah, did that correctly. Awesome. Oh hey, 2 out of 2. I am getting better. Sort of, kind of. I feel like I always say I'm getting better and I'm not. Honestly, having the ability to have some of the elite weapons, especially going through the game early on, has been so much better. Like, leveling up Revenant was so much easier with the Greatsword and the short bow options just early on. Just made it, like, so much smoother. Because I like dual-wielding swords, but the Revenant's ability to dual-wield swords, I guess it depends on your build. I'm not good at doing melee in games, so I prefer to be a little bit more ranged. But yeah, I prefer to be ranged. I did almost want to do Vindicator because of the Greatsword skills were so good. And Vindicator is kind of like if Dragoon and Dark Knight merge together a little bit, where your dodges get replaced by jumps, and it's just fun. But also, like, I mean, I have all my mastery, all my elite specs maxed out on this character, so I could feasibly just change into Vindicator if I want to, like, have some fun with it. But I'm kind of liking, I like being a support DPS. So that is what I am doing, and this is a good expansion to be a support DPS in. Oh, where are we going? I just want to make sure, because I know there's one nearby here. Like, there's 2 on the same map, and they're, like, right next to each other. On the same little island, right next to each other. A lot of the time. Okay, maybe not. Maybe we all just decided to yank this arrowhead, and, we're gonna pay the price for it in a second. Oh, I just collected items. Nice. really use my elite spec as much as I should. It just uses so much energy, and I like to be able to shoot things. Especially if I don't have a huge party behind me. Back it up. Okay. I mean, I'm still not sure how much I trust the arcane wizards or whatever they're called. Like, it feels weirdly culty. And that makes me kind of distrust them, and some of the stuff that they talk about, or the stuff that they're, like, kind of saying with Zojja and almost, like, pressuring Zojja, makes me a little nervous what's gonna happen in future patches. Because it feels kind of culty, and there's something a little off-putting about it. And I'm not really sure what the developers are trying to say with some of the stuff. And maybe I'm just stupid. Like, that's a possibility where I'm just kind of dense and I'm just not getting what they're putting down. But there's also this very distinct possibility. We already had the one spawn here, which means it's either here or there. I mean, I just might not be getting what they're putting down. But it kind of is like this weird, it kind of feels like it's one of those, like, cult, not a cult situations. We're like, oh yeah, no, it's totally not a cult. Or something like that. Okay, well, if it's down, what's that? Or it's over here. Okay. Into the fire. I don't know. There's just parts of it that, like, you, like... Hello, Jack! I know, it's really culty, right? Like, it's like, I'm like... There's parts of it that feel kind of manipulative and weird, and I'm like, I don't know if I trust these guys. Like, Zojja, I'm glad you're happy, but I don't know if it's actually benefiting you mentally being here. Like, I feel like this is not, mentally healthy. I don't know. I don't trust them the same. Like, I feel like the developers want us to trust them, and I don't. Like, and I don't know if that's maybe like, again, I might be kind of dense. Maybe they want me to have this weird, eerie sense of foreboding with this. Maybe I've played so many games where it does feel like an MLM too, right? Like, and then like. Yeah, it's weird where they're like, oh, you're not really part of it, like, but also like, oh, we don't want help, and like, Paitha's over here just being like, hey, come to my place, and like, let's actually solve this fucking problem, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Like, when the demon who could possibly be manipulating us to kill us is seemingly more trustworthy than the people who are supposed to be trustworthy, it feels like a red flag. Like, first of all, Paitha is awesome. Just big Paitha fan over here. Like, oh, that cutscene where, like, she helps you, like, basically murk her brother is phenomenal. Like, the way that they animate her walking around him and just real good. But I feel like they also do, like, the suspense of, like, we're not really sure, like, if she's Because for me, it kind of feels like the situation where we're gonna help Peitha, like, overthrow Park or whatever, and then she's gonna turn around and bite us in the ass, and not in like a fun way, in like a we are fucking screwed way. But I don't know. Maybe I'm also giving, like, Guild Wars 2 is good at story. It's not Final Fantasy 14 levels of story, but it's also not like it's a fair. I feel like Guild Wars 2 is just fair. Like, it's a solid product in everything that it does. That's what I feel like Guild Wars 2 is like. It's a solid product. It's not like did it make me like have chills like fucking Shadowbringers? No. Did I have a good time, and does it make me think about things? Yes. So I still think Guild Wars 2 is like miles better than World of Warcraft, but I'm also biased because but but like also like old school WoW and new school WoW are very different things. Yeah. I mean, everybody could be the bad guys. That would be kind of a nuanced take for that. Well, not really nuanced. It would be an interesting take. I would actually prefer everyone is the bad guys. I mean, to like Bram fucking showing up again. So, you know, I don't hate Bram as much as the next guy. Icebird Saga was an illogical nightmare that did not make sense. End of Dragons was fucking amazing, but I also think End of Dragons was a very different, like, styled product than the rest of the game. I just loved the environments in End of Dragons. All the environments were fucking beautiful. He's trying his best. Okay, when I first met Bram, I actually kind of liked him, okay? He and Taimi had this really funny, like, budding relationship thing. It wasn't that bad, and I didn't really understand when a lot of people were like, oh, Bram really sucks. And then, you know, I got to, like, through the Living Worlds, and I got through, like, Icebird Saga, and I was like, wow, they really do not know what to do with this character. And I don't know, in End of Dragons, I loved Gorick. Gorick, I was like, oh my god! Like, Gorick was amazing. So I was like, I loved what they did with Gorick in End of Dragons. Like, he was okay. In, like, what was it, Living World Season 3, like, after Path of Fire or whatever, like, he and Blish were okay. Like, I got what they were putting down, but I wasn't, like, blown away. And then End of Dragons comes along, and I'm like, oh my god, hanging around with Gorick is fun as fuck. Like, I also have a soft spot for, like, crazy, engineers. So, like, Gorick was kind of fun in that regards. And, like, that, when you're in that, like, prison cell and Gorick's there, and he's just, like, going off on the guard and just causing everybody mental anguish. It's very much like, oh, I'm not trapped in here. You're trapped in here with me. And it's amazing. Rama is great. The Friends Detective Agency was phenomenal, where both Rama and Marjorie are like, can we not call it that? And Gorick's like, oh, we're definitely calling that. I'm the only one who gets paperwork done here. Yeah, Bram doesn't deserve the visceral hate, and it does seem like they're trying to age his character up. Like, in the End of Dragons, kind of at the end of that, the cutscene from, like, when you're fighting Suwon and all this stuff, like, it seems like they're definitely trying to, like, age Bram up and maybe make him a little more, like, mature, which I think would be a good thing to do for a story perspective. Because when they had him kind of be, like, this young upstart who's, like, you know, heir's kid, who's a little bit, you know, like, that worked for a little while, but the problem was they kind of kept that shtick going for a bit too long, and I think they could have scaled back on that a little bit sooner. It's more just, like, the execution feels all over the place in certain areas. And, like, it's still fair. Like, it's not the worst of the worst. It's still relatively fair. But it could have been, like, a little bit tightened up. Like, I feel like if they need, like, somebody outside side who doesn't really know too much to like read through it and be like, that doesn't make sense. Or like this character is coming off this way. And I also feel like Bram kind of going through his emo arc got old real quickly. Like, it was fun while it lasted, and then we were like, okay, like, Iceberg Saga was just weird, and Bram joining Primordius and all that type of stuff, and, like, I would have much preferred, like, and, like, also Iceberg Saga featuring the Char didn't make sense to me, because it's literally Jormag, and who deals with Jormag? The Norn, and, like, Iceberg Saga is just, people can generally acknowledge that that's kind of the worst of the things, but there's a lot that did not make sense, and Bram's character being featured so prominently in that messy lack of logistics did not do him any favors. And I really liked his, like, thing he had going on with Timey when we first met him, and I really think they could bring that back with, like, you know, Timey's clearly getting older too, and her and Gorik actually have a pretty fun relationship that's kind of fun to just watch. As an asexual, I'm just like, this is great. Like, I'm just gonna watch. When I had to choose who to bring along for the date, I chose Yao, because I'm like, oh, one non-binary person to another. Even if we don't, like, have any chemistry, we'll at least get along. And Yao's pretty fun to hang out with. I love the way that this game does, LGBTQ plus inclusivity, because it's not a bit, like, I feel like it's not performative, which is great. It just kind of exists, and it's literally been there since the beginning of the game, which came out, I think, before it was actually legal for gay people to get married. And, but you have Marjorie and Kaz. In one of the Sylvari starting zones, there's literally a gay couple who you help out. Like, the game doesn't make a huge deal out of having LGBTQ couples. It's just like, yeah, they exist, and they exist in the world, and that's great. And it's just kind of like this thing, it doesn't feel performative, because it feels very much like this is just part of our world. Yeah, with the whole Green Knight thing, yeah. And I like the way that they do that, because it's very just like, yeah, I know these people exist, and Marjorie and Kaz are finally getting married, which, you know, about fucking damn time. Where the, like, it's been way too long for that to be a thing. Like, I feel like they've been married. Like, am I the only one who's like, they kind of, aren't they already, like, oh, hi, it's Luna. Oh, you brought me a toy, which you then, okay, you then dropped said toy. Yep, it looks like I just swore. Okay, thank you for dropping said toy, but I don't need, oh my god. Okay. She dropped her toy, like, directly on top of all my wires. Which is nice, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, I always kind of thought they were married. I mean, we meet them, they're literally together and they're a couple. Oh, I also want to meet Rox's boyfriend. Like, that's the other thing. Like, Rox mentioned that she has a boyfriend now, which I always kind of thought her and Bram were a thing. But, that's sad. Like, I want to meet him just because I think it'd be kind of fun to see, but I also kind of wish that they had, like, made her and Bram a thing, because I think that would have been fun. And, like, kind of being, like, they could have explored a lot with, like, Norn and Char relationships. Because I have a theory. So if you play a Norn have elite abilities that enable them to, turn into animals, right? Oh, that's a salvage item. I thought that was a bag. Norn have the elite ability to turn into animals, like wolves, cats, ravens. Char are like a chimera of a bunch of animals. And my theory, and if you play Norn or a Char, you know that they're literally right next to each other in the map area, and they have a great relationship, and they like a lot of the same things. And my theory is that Norn and Char are actually related to each other, and there's just a group of Norn that decided they preferred life as like werewolves, and essentially went off and joined, and like that's kind of how the Char exist. That's my theory. It borders on furry territory, but I mean, the Norn literally talk about spirits of the wild, and the Char are like, yeah, we fucking killed our gods. Like, I don't know. Like, things, like, it feels like maybe there was a little bit of interracial romance going on there, or, like, the Char are just Norn that decided they liked living as furries and then just became furries. And I also would have liked, like, I thought, like, Rox and Bram had a very healthy relationship that they just kind of threw down the toilet in the Iceberg Saga. It kind of makes sense. That's the problem. Like, it kind of makes sense. It's a problem. Like, I kind of wish they would have kept Bram and Rox working. I mean, I understand for Rox's character development, it kind of was good for Rox to kind of, like, hang out with the Omicron, and it made sense. But, like, I kind of wish that, like, because Bram and Rox actually, like, when Bram works really well with, like, Bram works really well with Rox and with Timey. And they then, in the Iceberg Saga, specifically made him, like, a solo act, and he doesn't work as a solo act. He works as, like, he works best when he's bouncing off somebody. And, like, it didn't work for him. And, like, or what they could have done, and I would also have supported this, make him and Ryland get together. That would have been a duo that could have been great. We could have had, like, Ryland's daddy issues, Bram's mommy issues. They could have worked with us instead of, like, against us. Like, it would have been fucking phenomenal. And that would have been a fun story, and we could have, like, you know, had a bunch of stuff. But no, they just kind of threw shit at the fan for some reason, and it went everywhere, and it was bad. And yeah, like that. And that also would have been really fun. Like, if they had done that. And I would have taken a gay love story with Bram and Ryland. I think there was a lot that could have been explored there. Meeting Ryland and, like, you know, Krisha, too, is I really liked Krisha's character, and her voice actor fucking killed it, too, as well. Her voice actor carried that character through everything. But, like, also, like, the dick innuendos with Sahagin and, like, Fire were pretty fun. But, I am not doing well at convincing these guys, but it does mean I get to kill a lot of them. Like, the main thing is, like, I do like that this expansion, they decided to kind of go away from the people we had been working towards, because, you know, we were kind of like, the dragon cycle is gone, you know, where do we go from here? But I don't think they went far enough in kind of making us have to do something else, like, or have to, like, go other places, because all of this really just feels like this is a very interesting what if box, but it's not really, like, new. Like, I don't feel like I entered a new world, like, because it still feels like segments of existing worlds. And it is. And, like, Amethyst has some new things, but it doesn't have new inventive things. Like, I've seen it before in other games, like the whole gold Grecian stuff and, like, Wizard Cat. Like, it kind of feels like, and I know that, like, it's hard to think, like, okay, where do we go from here? And maybe this is a good, like, starting off point until like going into different branches of what we want to do. But like it's still kind of, and like I know that like probably the next couple patches we're gonna be going to like Pathos World, and that might be like something interesting and exciting, and you know that might be like the new stuff. Because when we are in like these like gothic architecture-y landscapes that the demons kind of exist in, that's fun to me. I like that. But when we're in like this type of stuff where it's like, oh, this is what happened if Joko was in charge. This is what happens if the Jade Bot's uprising. And I'm like, the Jade Bots are already uprising. I don't know what you, like, you know, that's already a thing that's happening. Like, I don't know what you think. I can't, oh, they're like up there. That's. Can I just, what happens if I try to ride this? Nope, 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 I don't want to go there. I mean, End of Dragons was really cool. It was like, oh, like, here's all these, like, beautiful places, and here's this giant jade quarry, and here's all this gorgeous stuff, and I was, like, fully expecting to, like, yeah, when they, like, were like, we're hunting demons in this expansion, I was like, great, we're gonna go to a demon world, it's gonna be gothic and spooky, it's gonna be amazing, it's gonna be like the fucking 13th from Final Fantasy or whatever, and no, we get, like, this skybox, basically, and, like, again, it's not bad, it's just not as good as it could be, and I still think this is not, like, this isn't my favorite expansion. It's still above Heart of Thorns. I don't like Heart of Thorns. I mean, story-wise, yeah, we just got a taste of it. So that makes me hopeful that with, like, Patha being like, okay, let's go, we're gonna get to go. But, like, story-wise, Heart of Thorns was, like, okay-ish, I guess. The way that they handled, like, if you don't have mounts in Heart of Thorns, it is brutal to get through. And that kind of kills a lot of the initial enjoyment. And I also think Heart of Thorns, like, the way, it is overly challenging in a way it does not need to be. A lot of, like, every hero point is, like, some massive group challenge, almost, until you get to the end map, and then they're like, okay, we hear you, you know, we kind of fucked up, like, here's a lack of, yeah, so there. But, like, Path of Fire I thought was really decent. I really liked Path of Fire. I had a lot of fun with Path of Fire, and I had a lot of fun with some of the living worlds after it. Path of Fire was fun. Yeah, Heart of Thorns was like, I feel like it was their first expansion, so I generally give them a little bit of slack with it. Because I'm like, you know, where do you go from here, essentially? Like, no, I don't want to fight that. I don't want to fight it. No. This is what gliders are for. Yeah, End of Dragons was really good. End of Dragons was, I don't know what they did between textures of Path of Fire and End of Dragons, but the textures, especially on the dragons in End of Dragons, saltwater dragons especially, were beautiful. It was gorgeous. And, you know, it kind of made us catch back up with the Ether Blades and, like, kind of introduced, and I like that they brought back kind of the whole Revenant, like, going through the mist kind of fucks you up thing. Oh, I need to actually go back to Draco's Pass now, so we're gonna do that.
I don't really think I'm gonna be able to control.
Yeah, I kind of got to End of Dragons later on enough that, like, by the time, like, people were actually doing the Suwong fight, there was enough, like, people who had done it, like, over and over again for the past year that it was okay. There were a couple times we didn't succeed, but for the most part, it was, yeah. Wizard's Tower here has been brutal. I can only imagine with the Suwon fight how it was. Especially when people didn't have all their Jadebot stuff upgraded.
This failed every other time. So what are we gonna do differently to make it work?
The idea was sound. Understood. We need to gather even more essence this time.
Well, as great as that sounds, I have to man the forge.
While they're doing dialogue-y stuff, I'm gonna...
That means
Rely on others.
let's see if this is anything I need. If it's not, that's...
probably a little wiser too. All right, Commander. We're gonna need all the essence we can gather. What Maban channels won't be enough.
I didn't realize they nerfed her.
Whatever you can to invoke the sense of home.
I mean, if I have to choose my favorite Guild Wars 2 expansion, it's definitely End of Dragons. Second favorite would be Path of Fire. This would, I guess, be third. I mean, this is still, this still doesn't feel technically over because we still have some loose holes that are probably going to get, like, plugged in the patch notes. So I don't want to give, like, a full thing on it.
Quickly now, Commander.
Yeah, Heart of Thorns would be the end. I guess if the base game counts, that would actually go before Heart of Thorns. I really don't like Heart of Thorns. I don't know how clear I can make that. I mean, okay, actually, you know what? I might put... Okay, yeah. I might put this on the same level with Heart of Thorns because this has easier events, but Heart of Thorns at least has a unique ecosystem to explore. And then they kind of like, I feel like this story is better than Heart of Thorns though. So but like this story's not over yet. So I don't know. I don't really want to judge this expansion until I know, like until I have a bit more, until this is kind of done with patches and stuff. And maybe when it's like patch-wise kind of done, I'll think of where to do it. Cause this is starting to feel a bit like Stormblood in FF14, where it's not bad, but the patch notes might be what makes or breaks it. I gotta mess that up. Trying to talk and do this at the same time. There we go. I don't think we're gonna have enough people to win this, but there's a couple steps to this event, and I'm willing to farm most of them, so we might not have enough people to win this event, but at least I'll be able to get something from it.
Can't believe I'm saying it, but this might actually work. It feels good to be doing something for once.
Okay. I can't get any farther up there. Alright. I'm gonna go down and grab these. Yeah. Yeah, because, like, again, if we end up following Paitha off to her world, that might be worth something. That might be a fun time. And that could change it. It's kind of like how in Stormblood, the patches made it a little bit better because they kind of fixed up some things and changed how Lisa's character was handled. And it was in, like, Stormblood in FF14, the actual base expansion wasn't the most phenomenal out of all the expansions, but the patch notes were insane. And the patch notes kind of made it, elevated it to a much higher standard. The patch notes are some of the best patch notes of any expansion in the Stormblood. So it's kind of like 50-50. And this might just be like that. And I kind of get that. Like, they're, like, trying to, like, going from the Dragon Cycle, which had much more of a clearer, conciser storyline, and then trying to plan something, new and different, and like, where do we go from here, and how do we go from there, and the transition into new said different thing was probably very challenging to do. And so I commend them for doing this in a way that is fair. Like, it's a fair product. And it's not, like, they did it in a good enough way that it feels fair. There's just little things, right? It's the little things. So, and it's not done yet. So I am reserving most judgment. But, like, yeah, they did it in a way that is fair enough, and they, you know, it does feel like they're starting to add pieces to a much larger puzzle, and that much larger puzzle is very interesting for me. And I'm excited for that. I just want some, you know, really nice locations to go along with said larger puzzle. But I'll take what I'm handed gracefully, I guess. Yeah, because, like, I feel like, I'm like, okay, I can see what they're putting down. And I can see that they're starting to put pieces together. I just kind of think they may have needed, like, I'm a little conflicted when it comes to the Astral Ward. And it kind of feels like the only reason the commander is helping the Astral Ward is just that we're around. And we can't really leave. Yeah, because they did say they were adding new weapons for the profession. And as someone who plays a lot of Guardian, I want those dual pistols. When this event's over, I'll show, I have a Guardian, but I play a lot of Firebrands, and dual-wielding pistols would be a fun thing. Also, the dual-wielding swords might actually make me want to play Necromancer. I've leveled Necromancer 3 times with different builds, and every time I love Dark Mages. I love the whole Gothic thing. I don't like the flow of combat for Necro, but I have a soft spot for dual-wielding swords. So I'm like, maybe. And generally the weapons that they add later on tend to work really well for, like, skill-wise. They tend to have much better, like, skill effects and skill feel. So I'm hopeful. Yeah. And I kind of wish Elementalist was getting some more options too. I know that they like keeping Elementalist as limited as possible, but I actually really like playing Elementalist. So if they could add some more, like I think they're doing pistols and offhand, which, I mean, okay, fine. But, like, I kind of wish they would add, like, more. Like, I kind of, because, like, I kind of wish they would add the dual swords for Elementalists, too. I think that'd be fun. But, I mean, I get that they like to keep Elementalists very minimalist. And Elementalist does have a lot of really fun abilities and builds to play around with. I think I need to create one that I can kind of condense a little bit. I'm trying to, like, condense all, because, like, I'm an altaholic, so I like to just create alts and create alts and create alts and different builds. And I'm trying to stop doing that and, like, get all the elite specs leveled out to, like, just be like, okay, I have everything, and then I can do, like, end game stuff. Because right now I'm not doing a lot of end game stuff because I'm so busy just leveling alts because I really like doing that. Yeah, I mean, I liked playing Willbender as a Guardian. I like playing Willbender too. I switched over to Firebrand because I usually main healers or support DPSs. And I like playing Firebrand a lot. Firebrand's one of my favorite classes to play. Dragon Hunter was fair. I didn't like the longbow skills, but I like having I like that I can have a longbow now so that I can have some ranged ability. But yeah, I usually heal in games. So like in FF14, I have all the classes maxed out, but I main white mage. Like I main a holy healer. So I like to heal. I like to do support DPS stuff. So I have yeah, and then Renegade's been fun as like a support DPS, and I do want to experiment around a bit more with Herald. I actually did Chronomancer for Mesmer. I have all my stuff leveled out for Mesmer, but I did Chronomancer because I like the idea of a time mage, and I also was like, I'm probably not playing Mesmer unless it's in like group content for raids and stuff anyway, so it kind of makes sense. And also, I'm very excited that Mesmers are getting rifles, because rifle abilities in this game are kind of overpowered. Like, I mained Mechanist for a really long time, and rifle abilities tend to be very overpowered, rifle and longbow abilities. So I'm kind of excited that Mesmer is getting rifle, and it might be similar to Deadeye, which would be fun. And that actually might make me play Mesmer a bit more. I mean, I like Mesmer in a sense. I do need to be very, like, Mesmer is fair to me, but it doesn't feel, I don't like a lot of the purple abilities that it has. They kind of, like, meld together in a weird way in my brain. But I also have, like, sensory processing disorder, so, like, certain, like, colors and effects can kind of just be a lot for my brain to handle. But I do like Mesmer quite a bit. I like the idea of Mesmer. I think Mesmer is a super unique idea, and I wish more games had something similar to Mesmer, because it's a super similar, it's a super unique idea, and it's super cool, and I kind of like that concept. And also, like, now that I can play with, like, the elite spec weapons, shield and dagger combo is amazing. I'm just gonna, like, if I did not have the shield and dagger combo leveling Mesmer, I probably would not have stuck with it, because the shield and dagger stuff is super fun. It's fun. I don't know. I'm not versed enough in, like, the build theory of this game. It's a little overwhelming to me to say if it's good. It's survivable. The build I have on my Mesmer is pretty survivable. And does fair damage. It's not like the highest damage output, but it is supposed to be like a support DPS. I did make my Mesmer a support DPS, so that's kind of to be expected. But it feels really fun to play. Like, you have a lot of versatility because the dagger's all ranged, and then the shield blocks. So it feels really fun to play because you don't feel as squishy as, like, you do with, like, a staff or a specter or something, or a scepter. So it's I would say it, like, try it, see if you like it. I'm a big believer in, like, not doing the meta, but doing whatever feels good to you. And, like, I get that in certain group content, meta is good. Like, I do change my abilities around if I'm in raid content or something. But, like, in day-to-day play, like, whatever feels good to you and you think works for you, like, I would rather take that. It's like, in FF14, I would rather take a black mage that's really good over, like, making them switch to a class that's really bad. Or I would rather take a dark knight that knows their class like the back of their hand than make them switch over to warrior where they don't know how to play warrior at all. Like, I find that there's more success in a lot of these things when, like, people play what they know how to play really, really well. But I'm also aware that Guild Wars 2 is different, and I've done some of the raids and some of the strikes and stuff, and yeah, it's a different situation over here. But, like, in PvE play or whatever, yeah, I mean, if you think a shield and a dagger feels good to you, then go for it. If you think a hammer feels good to you, then go. I don't really care. Like,
Bring that essence back. We can't afford to lose. No. We can't afford to lose this much.
I do really want to see what the rifle skills are like, again, because rifles are so overpowered. I really enjoyed the shield and dagger versatility. I enjoyed the ranged combat with the Shield of Time was super fun because if you get struck, you get a second, like, you get deja vu, which is just another shield. And then, like, if you strike it, like, you know, a clone spawns or whatever. And then I also did, like, random boon granting. So I just gained super speed and random boons all the time. And that's pretty great. And then I kind of made my build to, like, extend the duration of those boons and apply them in certain situations. But enough versatility to where if I need to, I can... Yeah. Like, and, like, I usually, like, I'm not part of a super, like, serious heavy-duty guild. So, like, when we do stuff that's, like, you know, raids and stuff, like, I'll switch over to what they're saying, but they don't give me, like, a crazy build sheet or whatever a lot of the time, which is great, because then I can kind of be like, okay, here's... But they're also very, like, into, like, they'll teach you if you're new and stuff like that. And, I've had a lot of success with that, like, just being like, okay, here's what I need to change up for this, and this. Here's what's going to add electricity. Here's this and that. And, like, it's really nice how they kind of let me kind of, like, figure it out a little bit more at my own pace. Because, like, I have cognitive processing disorder, which makes it, like, when I do learn something, I know it for, like, the back of my hand for, like, the rest of time. But in the process of learning that thing, I'm a little slower than the average person. And some people get very frustrated with that. I also I have simple imaging issues. So certain acronyms are weird to me. So I would join raids and I would have, like, watched a guide or whatever. And then they would be like, oh, can you do a lac? And I would be like, what the fuck is a lac? And nobody explained that it was just alacrity. If they had been like alacrity, I'd been like, oh yeah, I can totally do that. I'll totally swap over to that right now. But no, they just kicked me out of the party in training things rather than just say, oh, it's alacrity. Like, and if somebody, and then that just left me that left me feeling confused and like a failure because, like, I had no idea. And finally someone was like, oh, they mean alacrity. I was like, okay, well, if they had said that, I would have just swatched over. I just don't understand acronyms the same way other people do. And it wasn't until, like, I found the guild I was with now where they're like, yeah, we don't really care, like, and I was like, this makes me feel better. And again, we don't do it, like, competitively, so, I mean, that's a different environment. But, like, if you're advertising that you're training new people, and somebody comes in with a and, like, is like, I don't understand what you're saying, like, it's a little bit like, all you had to say was alacrity, and I would have been like, and this was several parties, like, and I would have been like, okay, great, I can do that. That makes sense. I just don't understand acronyms. My brain doesn't understand symbols. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, it is. I mean, I get that. Like, it's still nowhere as bad as World of Warcraft was. Like, at least in Guild Wars 2, I feel okay talking a lot of the time. And in Final Fantasy, I feel okay talking a lot of the time. In World of Warcraft, if I were to talk to other people and they heard my voice, it was immediately like, oh, you're a chick. Or, like, if I were to talk about being non-binary or asexual or any of those things, the amount of hate I would have gotten was insane. Like, just logging into Orgrimmar and seeing, like, a bunch of just, like, absolutely, like, really bad, like, stuff in chat was, like, world chat was, like, homophobic stuff in chat. I was like, oh, I'm not safe here, you know? And, like, to some extent, yeah, it's the internet. Stuff happens. But, like, I was a kid back then. Like, I'm 24 now. But back then, I was, like, you know, 15, you know, 14, still trying to figure myself out, knowing that I wasn't, like, you know, how everybody else is. And logging into a zone where you want to relax and have a good time and having people just write that kind of really toxic bullshit in chat, like, it doesn't make you want to work with people. It doesn't make you want to cooperate with people. It makes you want to run and hide. And then, like, switching over to, like, FF14 or, like this game, like Guild Wars 2, and, like, everybody's game. Not everybody, but, like, you know, there's, like, actual characters and stuff, and it's not performative. Like, wow! After I I left WoW, it got really performative in a weird way, where like they were like, oh, to combat the thing, we have to do this, and I'm like, no, to combat the thing, like, no, like being performative actually makes it worse, because it makes the people who already think that get all up in arms in a very weird way, and it makes it so much worse. Like, it's better if you're just like, I don't know, like, performative stuff is different than non-performative stuff, and when something's performative, it lessens the impact it can have.
Quickly, charge the memory stairs so we can begin.
And I don't know, like, in Final Fantasy, nobody's sexual orientation is strictly listed, but like everybody is pretty chill with all manner of things, so I don't like, it doesn't feel as like, it feels a lot more accepted. Also, there's a lot of LGBTQ plus kills in that game. I know, because I run one.
That's it. Only one more is needed.
A little bit, yeah, because like there was some incidents at Blizzard, right? And instead of like kind of being like, hey, you know, people are people, they were like, okay, we have to cover up anything that looks like anything that is provocative or anything that shows skin or anything that does this, and it's like, no, like, you don't understand, like, women don't show, like, them covering up, like, they had a bunch of pictures that were provocative, and then they covered them up. They, like, made them so they were less, like, provocative, and I'm like, no, I have 4 sisters, okay? I have 4 sisters. I have a mom. I have a stepmom. My dad passed away when I was young, okay? I have lived in a household full of women. Women wear skin, like, women wear, not wear skin, god damn it, what am I saying? Women wear things that show their skin a lot of times because they feel good in them. And covering them up is kind of reinforcing the stereotype that they only wear them to show off for a man. And that's incorrect. A lot of times women wear things that show their skin and their body and their curves because they feel good. Not because they want, like, attention. Or not because they're, like, do it, like... Yeah. But, like, that's the thing. Like, they were like, oh, we have to make sure, like, everyone's covered up. And I'm like, no, you're missing the point. Like, you're missing the point. And it was a lot of that. It was a lot of just entering the game and having things feel like, oh, you're trying to do something good, but you're missing the point in the process of trying. And whenever somebody would be like, hey, that's not really how it works, they would get so mad at them. And I would just be like, wow, okay. Like, I don't know. Like, it was like, I don't know. I guess the problems at Blizzard were very evident before we even knew about them. Also, like, the thing where they were like, the coworkers were like drinking breast milk. Breast milk is actually kind of akin to blood, so that's weird as fuck. Like, it's made in a similar process of like converting blood into, like, it's Like, yeah, the problems at Blizzard were obvious, like, were kind of evident by the choices the company made before the problems actually were revealed. I know, that's what everybody was saying when that came out, when the whole lawsuit against Blizzard Entertainment happened. Everyone was like, why the actual fuck are people doing that? Yeah, people at Blizzard Entertainment were stealing people's breast milk and eating it. And yeah, like, it was weird and it was creepy and we were like, okay. Like, not to mention the other, like, you know, sexual harassment allegations that company had and all the other crazy shit. But like, yeah, but like the thing with like how they were approaching trying to quote unquote correct some of the issues in their game, was not kind of revealed the lack of in-depth thought process before the allegations of all the crazy workplace scenarios and shenanigans actually came out. I don't know. I don't hate World of Warcraft. I know it comes off as that. I hate the company behind the game. I think if the games company got their shit together, they could revamp it and turn it into something really, really cool again. But it's like I would need to see crazy changes for them to for me to trust and give them my money again. And one of the changes I would need to see is an extended free trial, because right now their biggest issue is their monetization policies, and you can still only play WoW to level 35 for free, I think. But the game has over 100 levels to play. So, and if you take Guild Wars 2, you can play to 80 for free. If you take Final Fantasy, they're adding it so you can play to 70 for free. That's all of Stormblood and Heaven's Ward. It's 3 expansions if you count a Realm Reborn for free. If they really want to revamp the game and make people have trust in the game again, they need to extend their free trial. Because one of the biggest issues with Blizzard Entertainment right now is their monetization policies. And them extending their free trial and extending their free-to-play options would kind of show that they are interested in the well-being of growth in the game rather than money. And yeah, it's a business, but a business also needs to have incentives for people to use it. And free trials are a great way for incentives for games, especially fair free trials. Guild Wars 2 doesn't have very many restrictions until you hit 80. Final Fantasy doesn't have very many restrictions until, next patch in October it will be 70. But right now, currently, it is still 60. And yeah, if World of Warcraft would do something similar to that, maybe make all of Battle for Azeroth free because no one wants to fucking do that, that would be really cool. But no! They lock you out at level 35, which is dumb, especially in this day and age. Yeah, really, really, really dumb. And they also, their subscription and their expansions are some of the most expensive ones out right now. I don't have to subscribe to play Guild Wars 2. I just need the expansion. And that's amazing. And this expansion was $20. I didn't have to do that. Yeah, it's insane, right? They're World of Warcraft and Blizzard Entertainment right now feel like you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And right now we're dealing with some, you live long enough to become the villain type of shit. And I did play WoW for a while. I enjoyed it. There's also, I don't like that, the class locking of WoW as well. The fact that every race cannot be every class is dumb in this day and age, and they need to fix that. The whole Alliance versus Horde thing is problematic because nobody wants to play Alliance, and so it's very hard to find anybody in, Alliance, to play along with. And it just, they also don't have a lot of account-bound options. In Guild Wars 2, when you level a mastery, every character on your account has that mastery no matter what level they are. In World of Warcraft, when you level something, only that character has that. And I have seen them making changes, but they're not massive enough for me to continue, like, to go back to. So it's kind of like, oh, well, you know, why would I go grind this thing, and, like, when I might want to play a different class later on, and I won't have said thing, and then I have to regrind said thing, when I could instead play this game, not have to pay a subscription, grind the thing, have it on every character, new, old, or non-existent yet. And it's like, it's not valuing time. That's what it is, right? And Final Fantasy has something a little bit different, where, like, your one character... Final Fantasy is not about alts. It's not a game where you make alts. In Final Fantasy 14, your one character can be every single class in the game. And can swap between them with gear sets at will, and you don't really need alts. You don't need an alt to go through FF14. And you can basically Fantasia into a different race or gender at any time. Not any time. Well, you need to have a Fantasia, so you need to buy a Fantasia. Or the game gives you Fantasias for reaching certain milestones as well. So, like, if you get past, I think, Praetorium, you can get a Fantasia. The game gives you Fantasia. But you can basically, like, I've literally changed what race I have been in Final Fantasy without resetting any of my progress anywhere in the game. And there's only, like, the only limit is, like, there's one area in Shadowbringers where if you're a Lalafell, you can go in and the other races can't, and it's a little house, and that's it. And that's kind of it. And there's some dialogue options that are different depending on what you play. But, you know what? I was able to Fantasia into a Lalafell for a month so I could play hide and seek with everyone as a Lalafell, and it just cost me like $5. And I was a Lalafell for a month, and then I went back to being something else, and I got to go in that house and experience that little house. And that was cool, and that was it. Like, but like, so like, you don't really need a bunch of alts, in Final Fantasy, and especially now that they've added more options for data center travel. So like, World of Warcraft just feels behind the times, and behind the times in a purposeful way where they want money, so they're not renovating. And it feels purposeful, and that's the problem. Like, it's an older game. So because it's an older game, if it didn't feel like a purposeful cash grab, we would, like, it would not be as damning, but because it feels like a purposeful cash grab at this point, especially when there are other MMOs with better financial options. Like, Final Fantasy XIV is coming to Xbox when the free-to-play trial that extends to Stormblood is going live. And, like, that adds more financial options for gaming systems, and all of this. And, like, again, Guild Wars 2, I don't need to subscribe to play this game. I earned a bunch of currency just by doing PvP. Like, I earned a bunch of, like, currency you usually have to pay for just by running, like, very minimal PvP. So, I'm, like, it feels behind the time in a very, like, purposeful way, and it's kind of sad to me watching WoW take this nosedive, because if... Yeah, we failed. I knew we were gonna fail. I was like, there's not enough people here to succeed. I don't know. I didn't mean to go on a WoW rant. I'm just like, if somebody as unprofessionally educated as myself can point out these fatal flaws in their marketing strategies, then I feel like there is something fundamentally wrong. And, like, that's not to knock anyone who enjoys the game. I totally get that, like, you know, like, back in the day, World of Warcraft was great, and it's not been for some time. And I understand that a lot of people, I mean, maybe there's some things that I don't know about just because it's been so long since I've played. I know that the last expansion had some decent reviews, they just didn't change enough for me to justify paying to go back. And I would have to pay to go back. And that's the thing. I don't want to pay to go back. We're in, like, the financial situation of the U.S. economy right now is bad. I don't have, like, I only have the money to pay for one game, and I'm not going to spend it on WoW. Like, the reason I can play Final Fantasy XIV and Guild Wars 2 is that I don't need to subscribe to play Guild Wars 2. No, it really doesn't respect the time that I put into it. And that's the sad thing. And I'm the type of person where if I don't feel respected, I just leave the situation. Like, I'm not very, I don't usually I don't like to, if I don't feel respected, I don't like to hang around a situation. Again, I grew up in a household that was very female dominated, just simply because my dad passed away when I was young. That's just the reality of it. And I have 4 sisters. It isn't intentionally female dominated, it's just how it's been, right? And both of my parents were very, my stepmom and my dad were together before he passed, but my mom especially, she's like 5'1", is a black belt in karate, does kickboxing, all this stuff. She was very much like, know your worth, you know? Like, never let anybody put you down, never let any, like, even my stepmom still, like, she went through breast cancer after my dad, like, literally as my dad passed away, she was going through chemo. She had to get, like, surgery, she became a survivalist, she can, like, survive outside in the wilderness for, like, a week with nothing, like, she's, like, they're both, like, you don't need any, like, they're, like, you, like, know your worth and know that you are strong, and, like, and I feel like that's something, like, everybody needs to know, not just, like, you know, women, but, like, men should know that, too. Like, everybody should know, like, that they are worth things, and that, it should just be, like, know your worth, you are valid, you have worth, and if people treat you like shit, don't give them the time of day. And that goes for companies, too. Like, and I feel like we don't teach that enough in America, especially, because it is unfortunately not one of those things. Oh, I did say I was gonna, like, go over and show, my Guardian and some of the stuff that I have. I'll show you, you know what, I'll get on my Mesmer, and we'll come have some fun with Mesmer, and I'll show you that, like, shield, dagger thing that I've been doing. I don't know how good it's gonna be, because I haven't actually leveled Mesmer through some of this stuff, but, let me, actually, I'm gonna clean all this up a bit. I really need more karma. I went into ore, and I got a bunch of, like, back pieces that were, like, the exotic back pieces, because I don't want to pay for exotic back pieces, but they are very karma heavy, and and I didn't want to pay for exotic back pieces. I've worked very hard to grind the amount of gold that I have, and I don't want to, I know I need to use it for sky scale stuff, so I'm like, okay, let me, some stuff I just want to put in my bank. I'm gonna save that. Actually, I put all gear stuff here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, this is my Guardian. My Guardian is probably the best geared. I'm in the Black Citadel because I'm, like, trying to get all the Provisioner tokens and Provisioner token stuff. No, I was gonna do Mesmer. I got distracted by my Guardian, because I like my Guardian! This is my Mesmer. Yeah. Yeah. So I have not, I did, if you do Isgarin's little, not little, but if you do his, like, collection, you get a portal to the Wizard's Tower, so I'm just gonna use that. Which is good, because not having a portal to the Wizard's Tower before getting that collection, yeah, thank you. I tried to, I did the book shoulders for Firebrand because of the book pages. I spend a lot of time on my character creators, so I'm doing Chronomancer. Oh shit, yeah, this is gonna be interesting because, I literally have not gone through the story. Let me just, hey, okay, that's still there. Let me just go. I guess we're doing things a little in reverse right now. What's up, Maple? You're here mooing. Why are you mooing? Hello, my little kitty. Hi, Bear. Nice to see you. Oh, I know I stopped petting you. I know I'm missing one book. I just don't know where it is. So that's great. Okay, they're like, you don't have any of these areas unlocked on this character.
Managed to secure most of the beacon. Take a
Alright, let's figure out... I guess this is a good way for me to kind of unlock all the zones on Mesmer. I do need to go through with some of them now that I have that little teleporter thing after I got all the collections done for that and like unlock a lot of this.
The villages. The elementals.
Why are you chewing the Maple, you're 13. You're too old for this. I'm like, my mom's camping, so I am on my own for dog sitting this weekend. And the 13-year-old dog is very needy and also kind of spacey. She's like right behind me. She's just like doing things. Let's find an enemy. I don't really want to do this fate again. I did this a couple times. I also don't want to get sucked into the Earth Elemental boss that spawns there. Trying not to. Oh, there's like that whole area over there. Okay. Let's go fight a dragon. Actually, no, I don't want to kill dragons. I like dragons. You know what? Instead, we'll fight the chalk. Fuck the chalk. I hate the chalk. They suck. That quest in Heart of Thorns that makes you, like, have to go kill chalk for, like, ingredients is one of the worst things ever created. That's a little extreme. Okay, not same way, but we'll kill some chalk. Yeah, I've got a couple things. I really like signets. I like passive builds, again, just because, like, I am, but shield and dagger feels, yeah, it's the stupid goop. It's like the goop that weighs you down. Hey, Nero, welcome back. But, like, you have, like, the dagger, right? Which is fun. And then you can, like, do the little circle-y circle thing. And then, like, the shield skills just give you a little bit of extra survivability. But I've got a couple things with Mesmer's, like, I have the, like, random boon thing, and then I've done some, like, other stuff as well. I guess we could do this. And then there's this really nifty like thing where you can basically launch your shield, and then when it comes back to you, it like does stuff, and then like it can also, I think it like suspends them for a bit. I don't know, there's like different effects you can kind of do for that, or different skills you can kind of choose to do for that. The wells are okay for Chronomancer. I think I like Virtuoso's like daggery thing better, but I like some of Chronomancer's like boon abilities and like distortion abilities better. Again, I can kind of be both because I have everything leveled out now. Yeah, I'm really, the sword and dagger combo feels fun, so I've kind of been rolling with that. I forgot that I need to like focus on getting the extractors and not killing the chunk. I need to pick up the ley energy and then throw them on the golem. Sometimes we just start shooty things. But before this was impossible because the shield stuff is for Chronomancer and the dagger stuff is for Virtuoso. But now I can pair them together. And I guess you could also pair like the axe from Mirage and the shield together too as well. Like that's another option. But it does a fair bit of damage and it's kind of fun. And it just adds a bit more survivability that I think Mesmer kind of benefits from. But that's also just because I'm not good at I'm not like the best at this. So I like being a support DPS because I have survivability. Because yeah, you can see the little like tiny device there. It kind of like slows down your enemies a little bit. And I switched over to my sword by accident while talking about how I am not good at this. Great sword skills are fun though too. Let's switch back to my sword and shield. Those are what's fancy. I don't. I'm already kind of fast. The nice thing about the random boon every couple seconds is that it's always a speed buff. I mean, I think I'm kind of an MMO crackhead, so like a lot of things, like it takes me a little while to get them, but once I get them, I'm usually pretty good. The main thing is like, I like to have the survivability buffer so that it gives me time to get said things. Like, it gives me time to figure out what I'm supposed to do. Or how I'm supposed to do said thing. Like, it gives me some time, like a little extra bit of time to, like, just think on my feet. Oh, I don't have even lesser arcane treasure in Heart of Master. Okay. I've just been doing sky skill stuff, mastery-wise. Well, I mean, I did enough to, like, advance, but, yeah. I think what I really like about MMOs is like I'm agoraphobic, so it's hard for me to leave the house on most days. And I have like social anxiety, right? So like the main challenge for me is like the socialization aspect. But which normally people would be like, "Oh, then you don't like MMOs." But like MMOs are the only times where I can like interact with people and not feel the same amount of pressure that like I feel out in the world regularly. Which is why most of my friends now are just online, because I don't really, like, and also, like, I don't get judged as badly in MMOs, as I feel like I do a lot of times out in the real world. Like, I feel like when you play games, especially MMOs, because of their addicting nature, like, a lot of people are like, yeah, we're all kind of fucked up here. Like, there's a little bit less stigma on being fucked up, right? Like, it's like, yeah. And I also like the challenge of having to socialize. Like, before I started Final Fantasy, I played some MMOs, right? But I didn't have the same confidence to, like, talk to people as I did when I started Final Fantasy. Once I started Final Fantasy, I kind of came to this thing where it's like, I want to join a guild, and I want to do events and start talking to people. And, like, start to kind of try to come out of my shell a little bit and like really gain some confidence. And in that process, like, I finally gained the confidence to start streaming. I gained the confidence to like lead groups in activities and like talk to people and like help people out, and it made me a better person. And I feel like a good game is a game that pushes you just a slight bit out of your comfort zone, but also is enough of a comfort zone that it can, like, that on like dark days you can still have the like support that you need. And I don't know, I also think that like this is something my sister says about me, or one of my sisters says about me. I sometimes play games to vent frustration, which I think is a good thing, because a lot of times if you want to smash things, you can't do that in the real world. Like, it's not socially acceptable to smash up stuff in the real world. Or to get mad, or to rage at the machine, or whatever, you know, in the real world. But you can go onto a game, and you can find a nice little event, and then beat the shit out of everything in the vicinity. And sometimes that, yeah, I'm just not getting there. I'm not getting to that ledge from here. Sometimes, though, that's what you need. You just need to, like, and that's one of the reasons I feel like I like Guild Wars 2 for that a little more than FF, because Guild Wars 2, the combat, like, especially the, like, greatsword combat feels really impactful. So on, like, times when I really need to, like, fuck something up, like, playing, either I'll go on my Revenant or, like, do Vindicator, or I'll go, like, Guardian, or, you know, something else, or Daredevil as well. I like my Daredevil quite a bit. I kind of turned my Daredevil into, like, a swashbuckling pirate. So my Daredevil is kind of like, it's kind of, like, I essentially made a swashbuckling pirate build for my Daredevil. Like, the dual pistols, and then, like, some abilities that are kind of piratey, like, I don't know, I was like, yeah, I'm thinking I'm just gonna go full pirate, and it actually made me very fucking powerful in a very strange way.
What is out there? We need to get these guys here.
And I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna keep this. And I do feel like it makes sense, like, lore-wise of this game, too. Like, pirates are kind of a thing. Like, there's a lot of variations on pirates in this game, which is actually, like, now that I think about it, it's kind of strange. Like, a lot of games don't have the same variation of pirates that Guild Wars 2 has. Like, you got the Ether Blades, you've got, like, I mean, I guess Final Fantasy has Limsa Lominsa, but, like, that's, like, one kind of nation of pirates. Although with Dawn Trail, that might change. Since we're going to the quote-unquote new world. But, yeah, this game has a lot of variations on pirates. It's kind of cool. I feel like we now need some more variations of ninjas to balance it out. Yeah, pirates are fun. I mean, in Limsa Lominsa it's fun because you've got, like, Merle Webb, who is very boobily endowed in a way that I feel like attracts a lot of people. I mean, that's why I chose Limsa Lominsa as my main base. If I'm gonna be led by anybody, it's gonna be the pirate lady with the giant tits. Like, the physicality of moving with that is admirable. Yeah, I kind of wish, like, I mean, I guess technically, like, End of Dragons, like, was the expansion of the Ether Blades, but I would have loved, like, a pirate-themed expansion from Guild Wars 2 that wasn't like the Ether Blades and their mistopping shenanigans, but maybe more like the like typical piratey stuff. Cause like I feel like it would have been fun to like go to a sea town in this game. Like if they had created a giant seaport in this game, like I don't know if any of you are familiar with Dimension 20, but if you think like Leviathan, which is this town made up of a bunch of ships lashed together, and it's really fucking cool. And Guild Wars 2 could have created something really neat with all their like scaling mechanics similar to that. And that would have been super cool. Just the way that Guild Wars 2 does terrain, they could have created something similar to that kind of concept, and that would have been really, really neat. And just because they have a really good, like, they have really good map scaling mechanics in this game. So much so that when in FF14 in the live letter they were talking about like adding more map scaling mechanics, because I think they were like, oh shit, like, you know, like they play a lot of other games and I'm sure they were just like, oh shit, like whatever Guild Wars 2 is doing with their map is kind of fun. And like I just like, I think that like that would have been a cool thing to do, like, because like the Ether Blades are like pirates, but they're like not like we still didn't even get like piratey things, and that's fine because like Cantha's storyline was like the whole thing with Cantha and like Suwon and all of that was done so well that I didn't really mind it. But like I feel like it just would have been so fun to have like that kind of like Guild Wars 2 is very good at creating like again these like scalable environments, and that would have been a fun thing to explore, especially having so many like pirate options in this game. And pirate looks, like essentially if you're a medium armor wearing class, like 90% of your looks are pirate themed by default. Like just the base game alone, most of your looks are pirate themed. Like so it would have been fun to just like really go for it in a fun kind of way. And like that's maybe something that could still happen, but I just, instead of this, like, I mean, I feel like the reason a lot of the events kind of feature like Drakar's Light or whatever over here is because it's kind of the only new-ish area, or that the Draknar's Light is, because it's like loosely themed on the Norn area, but not really. Like it's the only like really new area out of all of these guys. I mean, maybe except for the observatory here, but and the Beacon of Ages, but like, yeah, it's. I feel like that's one of the reasons that most of the events are here. But like the whole thing with like I get the whole what if thing, but like yeah. There's a lot of really neat ideas that could be implemented. Just running over because I am a support DPS. I have some survivability, but not as much as I would like. This is not a just kind of freeze time here for a second. Okay. A bunch of ideas in a trench coat, yeah. I have an idea for a D&D character that's literally 2 trench coats pretending to be a kid. It's based off of a comedy sketch I saw a while back, but like, yeah, it's like some sort of illusion master or thief or something. But yeah, it would just be like 2 trench coats pretending to be a kid, and they would just walk around being like, "We are human, child." Actually, my European alt in FF14 is a Lalafell named 2 trench coats and a kid. I need a, I know that they're eventually going to add some European data center travel for North American data centers, so it's mostly a placeholder right now, but. just human doing human activities. I do find it kind of weird in this game that humans are one of the hottest races. Usually, I find humans very generic, but I was like, ah, shit, they're small and hot. What am I gonna do? Yeah, Sylvari are one of my favorites as well. Sylvari and Asura, I think, are my favorites. I like the Norn areas. I like the Norn mythology and I like the Norn lore. I don't like their voice, and I'm not a huge fan of their walk animation. I think it's fair, but it's not my favorite. I love the way Asuras dodge, and it's very fun to be an Asura in high-level content, because dodging feels a lot easier as an Asura, which is why my Firebrand is an Asura, because as the healer DPS, I want to be able to move out of the way very quickly. Yeah, I like Sylvari. Sylvari are probably one of my favorites, and Asura are one of my favorites. And I also, the Asura motto of like, I am a genius and also insane is very fun to me. The Asura voice acting is my favorite. Where does this lead? Let's just figure out where this leads. I don't know where this leads. I want to know. Where does it go? Does it go all the way down the map? Come on. Where? Now we're going backwards. Okay, just kind of cuts off halfway through. Great. Yeah, I like the Asura voice acting a lot. I think it's very funny. But I like Sylvari a lot too. I decided to do human for Mesmer. Mostly because I was taking a new look at Mesmer since the changes were made, and I realized I like to have a balance of race, the like number of types I play. So it's like, okay, well, I do think I'm gonna when I take another look at Necromancer. Hopefully when the dual swords come up, but whatever I'm going to do, when I decide to max out all of Necromancer's stuff, I'm gonna do Char, and I'm gonna kind of see if I can figure out how to do the Omicron horns. I know that it's like a swap thing, but yeah, and I'll probably do a black kitty cat because black animals in general don't get adopted in shelters as much as they want to, but black animals in shelters have a less likely chance of getting adopted. So, kind of that. Like I named my my druid's tiger white tiger inbred because all white tigers are fundamentally inbred and have issues. Oh, I want to show off my druid at some point too. Okay, I need to go back and I need to like unlock this area so like I can actually do wizard's towery stuff. I want to show, I like my druid, but also my druid has a fun name, and the main pet I have on my druid is fun. Yeah, white tigers don't occur naturally in nature, so humans have bred them to the point where a lot of them have fundamentally have defects, so they don't exist naturally. It's very well, they can exist naturally. It is super rare, so virtually all white tigers all white tigers you see, not virtually, but most white tigers you see are inbred, because the only way you can get a white tiger is breeding it with another white tiger, which again is an extremely rare thing. And actually most white animals, even ones we've domesticated like horses and dogs, most white animals have issues, like severe health issues. So like horses, you get a lot of skin issues. They have a higher rate for cancer. sunburn issues. Dogs, a lot of them are deaf, same with horses. Like, for some reason, deafness and white animals is very common. And that's not like, I'm not saying that like a deaf animal can't live a happy life, because they clearly can, but it's a lot harder to find them homes. And skin issues are always kind of a thing and like that. So like, yeah, like, it's, I used to work at a horse ranch, rehoming wild and abused horses for an insane crazy horse trainer lady. So this was, and then I do teach, I help out teaching little kid lessons. So I used to teach people to ride horses. I used to train horses. But yeah, it was like the horses that were white or grays, which is where they like either start out black and turn white, or they start out white and turn black. I might be kind of going off wrong there, but yeah, like it's those types of animals generally have more issues. So like, because like if you think about it, there's only certain areas out in nature where white animals actually have a survivability benefit, and a lot of those are not areas where humans can exist. So, like, you know, you think the Arctic, or where it's super snowy, and even then, a lot of them are actually more along the lines of gray than pure white. So to breed an animal pure white is to fundamentally inbreed a lot of genetic things. Yeah, it's how it is. But black animals don't get adopted in shelters, a lot of the time. So, yeah, that's kind of, but a lot of people refuse to adopt black animals in shelters, which is sad. And as someone with a black dog, that's sad. I'm gonna do my druid. Just because they have a fun name. They have a fun name, and they have a fun pet. Well, I got all the, I got all the pets PvE-wise except for the smoke scale, but that, like, requires, like, the Scar Bivouac to be, like, rank 3, and I don't want to spend time doing that. So my turtle's name is Holy Hand Grenade, and my character's name is the Killer Rabbit. just right here, the Killer Rabbit. But I have, I'll move it over here. I have, like, most of them. There's a couple that, like, you can only get in, like, Juvenile Wolf you can only get by being in the mists. I think that's the Black Moa and the Spider, and then the Rainbow Jellyfish, there's, like, some sort of other mechanic to it. Yeah. I don't play Druid enough. I don't really like any, I play Druid if I'm doing raids, but I don't really do anything else with my best character because I don't really like any of Ranger's elite specs. I don't really like because I feel like, I just don't really like any of Ranger's elite specs, so I play Druid if they need it for raids, but I don't really, like, engage with it enough. I just like how she looks. Actually, you know what I could do? I need to get hero points for my warrior right now. Her name's Hysterical Revenge. But I'm gonna make like a Berserker longbow type build with it. So, I guess that would be something we can do. Let's go do that. So this one I actually got, I lucked out. I didn't have to pay for this one. I got it by like I got one of those things you get in the chest. It's like unlock, you know, random wardrobe items that you don't previously have unlocked. And I just so happened to get lucky, and this was the ones that I unlocked. But yeah, like it's That's not what I wanted. I didn't want a skimmer. Why would I want a skimmer? Whee! Trying to max out this. Fashion is true endgame in every game. Well, every good game, I feel like fashion is true endgame. every good game, fashion's true endgame. And then I got those wings. They gave those out as a promotional thing during Pride, which was great. They're like, oh, hey, it's Pride Month. Here, take these rainbow wings for free. And I was like, I'll do that. I think that sounds great. I love the idea of like, it's Pride Month. Here's our gay-free item for everyone. I love the stained glass architecture in Arborstone. Oh, actually, I want to go get... Before I go down and do that one, I want to get this one. It's been a minute. Okay. I'm just going to fall and take the damage from that. I'm a warrior. I got heavy armor on. I'm fine. I know it doesn't look like I have heavy armor on, but I have heavy armor on. Because I want to get this one. And then I'm going to go get the hero point over there, but I don't want to have to jump back up and over, so... It's deception. It's deceptive. It's supposed to be deceptive. You think you can hit me and you can't. It's a glam. Let's just say I had a mesmer friend or something. I don't know. Also, I just remembered this pairing, but I would have loved to have seen more Anise and Canuck. Like, they in End of Dragons, they put Canuck with, like, the, like, skyship pirate, who was kind of sassy and kind of did similar dynamic to what him and Anise had. But Anise and Canuck had a very fun relationship in Living World Season 1 and 2. Especially if you, like, hung around to hear their dialogue. They had just a beautiful, petty, crazy relationship, and I loved every second of their banter. Of it being like, I want you to do this for me. Canuck just be like, do I have to? And if you're a Sylvari, going through Heart of Thorns is probably a lot more fun than if you're not a Sylvari. I mean, he got his first, like, he was redeeming himself in a way. Like, that was, like, the point. In the Heart of Thorns storyline, it was about how, like, Morgemoth was like, oh, no, you're just a slave. And Canuck was like, no, I choose to serve because I fucked up. And I'm trying to make things right. And, like, when I'm done making things right, I'll move on my own. And, like, I mean, he still bet on us and technically won a lot of money. And I feel like Anise would have taken that if, like... Like, the thing is, like, Canuck, like, that was the whole Heart of Thorns thing. And, like, if you're a Sylvari, there's, like, extra dialogue banter between you and Canuck that's kind of fun. And, like, being able to hear Morgemoth as well. And, like, yeah, if you choose to go with Canuck into, the fight with Morgemoth, like, yeah, he's like, oh, you're just a slave. And Canuck's like, no, I choose to serve because, like, I was in prison for dumb, like, shit that I did, and I'm trying to make things right. And Anise is giving me a way out where I can make things right. That was kind of what he was saying. And yeah, then he bet on us, won a fuck ton of money, and now he has a club and commandeered a pirate ship. And, you know, just Canuck doing Canuck things. He's like, we're totally not fleeing the battle at all. Canuck's like a morally gray character in a way. You kind of love to hate him and hate to love him. But he's fun. He brought some levity to Heart of Thorns that I feel like we kind of needed. And if you're not playing as a Sylvari, he does kind of bring in a Sylvari perspective that's not the Pale Tree cult, because let's be real, that is a cult. It's a British hippie cult, and they have drugs. And that's the Sylvari starting zone, and that's the Pale Tree in a nutshell. It's a British hippie cult with drugs and lies, and lots of gay sex. So, you know, it's somebody's good time. Although, Sylvari might technically be asexual because they are all plant people. Now that I think about it. But it's, I don't know. Pressing questions. Where is the... trying to find this cave. Where is the cave? Is this the cave? No, that is not the cave. Wearing next to nothing and talking about finding a cave feels strangely suggestive. Yeah, that is true. Like, Sylvari are relatively new. They only spawned, yeah, like, I think it's 35 years ago, essentially. Yeah, they're like, yeah, they're essentially, they basically are just... And, like, none of them know about the whole Mordremoth thing because the Pale Tree is, like, keeping them in the dark about that, and, like, they, like, have weird dreams. Like, okay, technically they may be older than, like, 25, 35 years old because they are, like, they were asleep for, like, you know, as a Sylvari, you wake up after being asleep for a very long time. But it's not really clear how long you were incubating in your little, like, pod person thing. So, I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe it is clear and it's a dialogue thing that I forgot about or wasn't paying attention to. Why can I not find this goddamn cave? I know it's here. Angry noises. Is this it? There we go. Found the cave. It took me for fucking ever to figure out how to get to this hero point, and I only figured it out because I saw somebody else figuring it out, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's how that works out. Hero point. Where are you? There we go. Okay, let me now look at my options. I'm using a longbow, which does a lot of fire damage, so I think I'm gonna do that. Because that'll increase burning duration. Berserk mode is kind of fun, though. Now how do I get out of said cave? I feel like they should have gone full Viera and given Norn, like, a fuller ass. Because they give Norn, like, a very nice rack. But they do not pad out the ass as well. And I feel like we should go full curve if we're gonna go full curvature. But that's just me. I would like to extend a round of applause to the people who had to animate the Norn boob jiggle physics. They are very well done, and, yep. very much enjoyed them. And continue to enjoy them. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with FF14, but go Google Viera asses and get back to me. Or Makote asses. Especially in the 2B leggings. I mean, humans have an okay one, to be honest. I mean, it's still not bad on Norn. It's the like the boob jiggle that's the real selling point, though. Like, let's be real. Okay, well, at some point, come stop by when I'm playing FF and tell me to go find a Viera ass, and I'll go find a Viera ass and show it to you. How about that? If you stop by, next time you stop by, and if I'm playing FF14, remind me to find a Viera ass, and I'll find one and show it to you. I can pretty much find one in Limsa Lominsa very quickly. I can also find a Makote one very quickly. Okay, where do I want to go? I'm debating just because there's this whole area over here, and there's that one, and I might not be able to do that one, in which case I'm either going to have to wait for someone to come along and save me, or I'm just going to have to come back at some other point in time. It'll kind of depend on how many ads have spawned from that. I did really enjoy Marjorie's rant about trying to get the speakers to stop enslaving spirits. And being like, and they're like, and I'm a necromancer, and I'm like, that's not the same thing! It was a very interesting rant in a very characterically correct way, if you think about it. Because, like, for Marjorie to essentially, like, it kind of made logistical sense, because it was like, oh, if you have a necromancer encounter this situation, how would they react? And it's like, oh, this is how they would react. And it's like, that was a very nice little piece of world building that was done, where it was very like, oh, we actually thought about the implications of having this character interact with these people and trying to make them work together, and what that would essentially mean, and the differences that might arrive from opinions. And I really liked that, just like little attention to logical, like, detail there. I very much enjoyed it. Longbows are slow, but goddamn are they powerful when they work correctly. I love it. And I also like playing ranged, so if I'm gonna play warrior, let's do something ranged. And, like, I know that Bladesworn is technically ranged, and if I don't like how Berserker starts to feel, or if I feel like Bladesworn will be better, I'll probably switch over to Bladesworn. But I have plans to get all the elite specs kind of maxed out, so, it's just Berserker is the only one I don't have completed yet. So, the other two I have completed. I have Spellbreaker completed, and I have Bladesworn completed on other characters. But I want to get everything maxed out on one character for every class, and kind of stop with my altaholic behavior, so that I can actually start doing endgamey things, and not just being like, well, I can't do that until I level up this, or I can't do that. Yeah, I did try Scourge. The problem I have with Necromancers, I really hate Shroud skills. And also, I there is a part of me that doesn't like how rigid it feels sometimes to choose when you choose an elite. It's kind of the same thing I have with Ranger, where, well, no, different than Ranger. With Ranger's elite specs, I feel like all of them are a little too loose in a way. Like, they're not rigid enough. Besides, like, Druid. But with Necromancers, it feels like they're a little too rigid with what they want to be. Now, granted, I haven't played Harbinger yet. I want to try playing Harbinger because I might actually like playing Harbinger. It seems kind of supporty DPS-y. I might enjoy that. I did play Scourge. Scourge was fine. I felt really squishy though, but that also might have been a build issue. And now that I can kind of experiment with a bit more weapon types, I'm gonna try Necromancer again to kind of figure that out. Berserk mode's fun. I like Warrior in FF, and that has a Berserk mode where you can like do flame, like chainsaw axes. So why not have a longbow? Yeah, hey, I have issues dodging when I am on Norn. God damn. Yeah, I mean, I like healing. I know how to play Scourge, and I mean, Reaper was fun if you were in Scythe mode, but I don't like how it makes the entire screen turn green. That's my main gripe with like the Shroud skills. The like entire screen turning green really fucking bugs me. And I don't know, maybe there's something that I can press to make that stop happening. But like, yeah, and then also just, I mean, it wasn't like, it's more of a like, and I mean, I like goth healers. I'm just, I don't know, like the whole life force thing and all of that was just very like, there was a part of me that just kind of clocked out on it, and I mean, part of the reason I'm revamping things is so I can take another look at it and like kind of come at it with a bit fresh pair of eyes and not trying to make it into something. Because in the past, that's kind of what I've done. I've like tried to configure it in a way, and I feel like I just kind of need to let it breathe a little bit. Like I need to let myself breathe with it instead of trying to make it one way or the other, or trying to go against what it's kind of prompting me to become or do. And like, sometimes that is the case, right? Like, you have a preconception of what a class or a play style is going to be, and then you actually get in and you experiment with it, and it's not that, and you don't really know how to configure it correctly or modify it to be something you want it to be. And like, I have experimented with it, and I don't know, that someone can probably, well, somebody who was there when I talked about because I leveled up every class, and someone who was there when I talked about all of that stuff probably can take a little bit of what I'm saying as hypocritical, because I did experiment with Necromancer quite a bit, and I thought I had brushed the surface of it, and I was wrong. I thought I had kind of gotten to the point where I felt like I'd kind of essentially discovered a bit more about Necromancer, and I thought that doing like the Sandshade thing would be good, because then I didn't have to worry about like the green screen thing kind of happening. But also playing like that up into the healer like persona is great when you're already leveled through thing and in raids, but it's a little bit difficult when you're still trying to like get through the world accordingly. So I think I need to like come at it more from like a PvE survivability standpoint. And then once I've kind of gotten through the world, do what I did with my Ranger, where I basically was like, okay, well, I've tried all the specs now. I've seen what I like and what I dislike. I think I'm only going to be playing this class in raids or group content. So I'm going to switch over to what I would prefer to play in that type of scenario. And I think I need to do that with Necromancer. I kind of need to level it through some things, try out all the elite specs in more depth of detail, and kind of see, just kind of figure out like what, like if I'm not gonna do like, because when I went through with Mesmer and the Sword and Shield combo, I was like, yeah, I probably am only going to play this in raids, but I like it enough and I feel good enough, solid enough playing it, that I feel like I could play it out and about in like PvE and be solid and fine and happy with that. Whereas like currently, like, I mean, with Warrior, I've tried, this is my first time trying Berserker, but I've tried the other elite specs and I like them. But I don't love them the same way I like my elite specs on Guardian. So I'm like, or like my Renegade. So I feel pretty solid on my Renegade and my Guardian, and well, I feel solid on my Renegade, and then on Guardian I actually feel pretty solid in all of the elite specs. So it's not as like I don't feel as confined. So like it's like if I'm gonna be playing something heavy armor, like Warrior, I'm gonna max everything out, and then I'm probably just going to be using it for like, you know, raids and group content. So I'm not like super concerned with, I guess I'm not like I probably won't be taking it many places, which is why I chose Norn, because I like Norn. I don't like being a Norn long term. But I figured if I'm gonna be using it just sparingly, I might as well make it look as hot as I can and just roll with it. Why not, you know? If I'm gonna be a Norn, I'm just gonna be a very sexy looking Norn. That was kind of my thought going into the process. I was like, well, if I'm gonna be a giant sexy goddess, I'm really gonna be a giant sexy goddess. I think I can max this out now. Hell yeah. And now I have everything maxed out. And what does this look like? I'll get back to that in a second. I'll probably just do Batesworn next. Actually, hang on a second. Where am I going? I got distracted. Okay, I know where I'm going. Yeah, I just like to, I'm like a completionist. Like, that's the thing. Like, I like to complete things, which is why this game is fucking addicting to me. Because this is a game where completing things is the entire gameplay. Like, everything in this game has a completion element to it, right? And, like, as somebody who's, like, if I start something, I usually want it done, unless it's, like, actively painful and I don't see a reason to, like Icebird Saga a lot of the time. I try to, like, I like to complete things, so I want to have all the classes fully completed. I don't know if I'm going to play all of them, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to play all of them successfully, but I want to have, like, one character fully complete in each class, and all of that. And then, like, I at least have them available. It's the same reason I have, like, Black Mage and Paladin and Monk leveled in FF14, even though I don't like playing any of those classes. Although I know some people really do, and that's great for them. I don't have anything against that. I just personally don't like playing them. I still have them leveled out, because if there is some sort of mechanic where having one of those classes would be beneficial, or I'm in a party situation where having something like that would be good, I can just switch over to it, and then I can help out the party. So it's I kind of like that. I like having things done so that, like, because here's the thing, I like having party utility, which is why I like healers and support DPSs. I like playing a tank in PvE. I'm bad at playing a tank in actual content. Like, content that requires tanking, I'm bad at. I like tanking in PvE, like player versus environment stuff, but But, like, the moment you're like, okay, go take the boss, and then put the boss over here, and then make sure this doesn't hit your party here, I'm like, I can't do it. I'm not good at it. Like, okay, technically I can do it. I'm bad. I'm really bad. I'm a really good healer. I'm good at healing. I'm a very good support DPS. I'm just bad at tanking. And everyone's like, but tanking is so easy. And I'm like, my brain is like, I have a bunch of disabilities. My brain doesn't work like other people's brains. It's just not the same. Like, and, you know, like, it's, so, like, I will make, like, tanky things for PvE stuff. And then, as soon as I do group content, I'm like, I'm not tanking. Don't ask me to tank. You will all die. We will die. It will not be funny if you ask me to tank. We will end up dying, and I don't want us to die. Well, unless I get a party that's an absolute, like, here's the thing about healing. When you're a healer, if your party's being assholery, you can let them die. And it will take them a really long time to find another healer. Not so much in Guild Wars 2, because there's a lot more versatility with classes, but in other games, if the party's being an asshole to me, or if someone in the party's being mean to me, or being judgmental of me, I can leave, and they're fundamentally screwed. And maybe next time, don't treat me like that. And, you know, it's kind of like, oh, well, that, like, there's power in being a healer and, like, knowing your worth, because, like, and I guess tanks have it too, like, but I feel like, again, Guild Wars 2 is a little different because people can adjust what they want to do. But in Final Fantasy, where it's a little more rigid and people have mains that they play and then things that they don't play, finding a good tank main is hard, finding a good healer main is hard. So, like, yeah, like, also, like, if somebody does something that is not okay, like, in high-level dungeons, if you pull without the tank, I'm just gonna let you die. I'm sorry. Like, if, in FF14, if we're in a level 90 dungeon, and the bard runs up and is like, I'm gonna tank! The tank's going too slow! I'm gonna pull without the tank, without, like, talking to any of us about anything or something, yeah, you just get to die. I'm sorry. I can't cure stupid, so, like, if I can't cure stupid, and, that was stupid of them to do. There's a certain level I can heal, and I really can't heal stupid. Stupid's not something I can heal. So, it sounds really harsh, and I try to be empathetic about it, because, like, I've been new. And, like, when I am in a dungeon with people who are new, I'm actually a lot more, like, empathetic about it, and or, like, if I'm also in a dungeon with people who have, like, who properly communicate, like, for instance, Final Fantasy XIV has, like, a trust system, where you can run through some dungeons with NPCs and stuff like that. So some people have leveled their classes. Some people have leveled their classes in the trust system. And the trust system, you know, you learn some things, but you don't learn everything. And, like, big polls are not really a thing in the trust system. But if you're playing with other players, big polls are essential. So, a lot of time, well, not essential, but big polls happen with more, like, there's more speed involved. And, we had a tank who was, like, it was a level 80 dungeon, post Shadowbringer, so I don't think Endwalker had been released yet. But it was a level 80 dungeon, and the tank came up and was like, hey, I've only leveled in this in Trust. I've run this dungeon, but only in Trust. I haven't run it with actual people. Like, please let me know if there's anything I can do better, and I will try and, like, the tank was like, and I will, I'll try to make sure that I'm doing okay. And I was like, pull what you're comfortable pulling. Go at your own pace, and I was like, and like, they went slow, but I was fine with that, because I was like, they're used to doing that, and I would rather have them do what they know they can handle and build up some confidence with it, than just rushing in and not doing anything. And, like, they spent a lot of time properly talking to us, and, like, communicating with us, and being like, hey, here's where I'm at, I'm really sorry about this, and, like, I just want to be sure that I'm doing everything correct, and, like, you know, whatever. And I was like, okay, you took the time to properly communicate, and, like, we got through the dungeon fine. Like, it was like, everybody took the time to properly communicate with each other, there were no hard feelings, we were all just like, yeah, that makes sense, okay, and we just got through it, and it went really well, and, like, I gave them a commendation, because I was like, yeah, I know it's hard to communicate with total strangers, FF14's a little different because most people aren't gonna like cuss you out. But well, I mean, I've never been in a dungeon where someone got cussed out. But like the community's a little different, and in Guild Wars 2 the community is mostly positive anyway. I was actually commenting on this to Nero, but I was like, I've been doing PvP and people aren't as crazy as I thought they'd be. I only had one instance where someone was being crazy, but they weren't actually being crazy in the PvP lobby. They were a bit like in the PvP. They weren't being crazy like in the actual battle. They were just like saying weird shit in the lobby, like the like Isle of the Mist lobby. And that was kind of weird, but also kind of funny because it's like you're not in a party, you're not in a battle. Like, who are you talking to? Like, that was more like funny in a like weird inept way, and they were still being pretty like it was still pretty decent. So it was still not like worst of the worst. So I was like, okay. But like I feel like I've had more people get butthurt in FF14, which is weird because that is not a PvP driven game. Guild Wars 2, it is like there does seem to be like, you know, it is called Guild Wars 2. The PvP is a thing. But like, yeah, I was kind of amazed by that. But yeah, like when people take the time to properly communicate things and you don't get like, I've always respect that because it takes a lot of effort to tell people that like you're new to something. And if you have the like, if you tell me that you're new to something, I will respect that and I will treat you very well. And as a healer, I'll probably overheal you because I want tanks to gain confidence tanking, and one of the ways they gain confidence tanking is if they're a little bit overhealed. If they are new and they don't say anything, I don't know, and I can't adjust accordingly, and a lot of times it causes more issues. And I get that, again, I get it's scary, I get it's hard, but like, we don't know who's new. We get the new notification, but we don't know who is new, so it's hard for me to like figure it out. And also, like, it means that like sometimes there are mechanics that people need to know about, and if the mechanics are not properly explained, bad shit happens. And if I know that someone's new, I know that I need to explain the mechanics or give them a heads up about mechanics. And usually it's fine, but sometimes it is not. Okay, I got all of these. Actually, what I want to go is to Arborstone, and then go into New Kaining. I don't know, that's kind of a rant. Like, or also, like, if you haven't played something, if you are having trouble with a mechanic, or you haven't played something in a month or so, like, I get that, I feel that. Like, oh my god, I think it was last stream, we all went into, like, Pharaoh Sirius hard mode, and we were all just like, what the fuck is this dungeon? I've not played this in forever. It's like, last time I played this, it was, like, unsynced, and it was months ago. Like, all of us were just like, what the fuck are we doing? And it was fine. Like, you know, we were all very, like, honest about the fact that it's, like, it's been, like, over a month since we've done this. What is happening? And, like, that was fine. It was, like, nothing bad's happening, you know? But we were all honest about it, and we got through it, and we made it out alive, and, you know, it was okay. But, yeah, it's... There's variation to things. I'll come help this person out. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to commune with the boy. Like, I don't need to chop a tree. Probably wouldn't have gotten anything. I don't think I don't gather enough game-wise to actively have increased my mining stuff. Well, scared to communicate. So I try to be, like, again, I try to be empathetic and courteous when that happens. But just saying, like, hey, I'm new, I think for, like, in higher levels in FF14, it's a little bit easier for most people because they've kind of gotten to see the community be very helpful. In the newer dungeons, I feel like it's a lot harder for some people to even say hi or communicate or whatever. One, because the party chat is a little weird depending on what system you're playing. And then, like, it's hard to type on controller, so some people with controllers are not as, like, that's not easy for them to do. But, like, my ex-girlfriend actually had macros for things. Like, yeah, so, like, I think that, like, once higher level, it's a little easier for a lot of people because they kind of know that, like, people aren't going to judge them the same way that, like, they do in other games. Like, when I went into a dungeon in World of Warcraft and I said I was new, people were very mad at me. And, like, even in Guild Wars 2, like, me being like, hey, I'm new to this, you know, whatever, like, I got a lot of weird reactions where, like, as I said about the alacrity thing, like, if they had just said, like, hey, this means alacrity, I'd have been like, oh yeah, I can do that. But them, like, refusing to do that. And I don't know if it's just the server I'm on. Like, I know that different servers have different cultures. So, like, in FF14, maybe it's the server I'm on. Like, maybe that's just its own culture. You know, you never know. So, like, different servers, different cultures, it's a thing. But yeah, like, because I'm on Dragon Brand, I know it's a very popular server, but, like, I'm not as versed on, like, the different server variations in Guild Wars 2. Like, in FF14, I'm on Crystal, which is known as the roleplay server. However, I'm on Zalera. The world I'm on is Zalera, and that's a little less, like, the main roleplay world is Balmug, and Zalera's not, as roleplay heavy. It tends to be a bit more, like, casual play heavy. And now that, like, you can travel to other data centers that are as long as they're in your region, like, it doesn't matter as much anymore. But, like, yeah, like, different servers develop different cultures, like, so I don't know if, like, because, like, it used to be that Ether and Primal were, like, mainly raiding servers, and everybody wanted to be on Ether and Primal for raiding. Again, now that, like, you can kind of travel to other, like, data centers, it's not as big of a deal. But, yeah, so it used to be like, oh, you join Crystal if you want to do roleplay or Fashion Wars, and then you join Ether and Primal if you wanna be top tier raiders. But, like, I think that's kind of, it's definitely breaking down now that they've added more, like, travel options. So, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. And then with the new free to play to level 70, that's gonna give us and the going live on Xbox, that's gonna give us, like, a whole, that's gonna give FF14 a whole boost of new players, which will change the culture again. So the culture kind of changes when Blizzard had their big thing. A lot of people went over to FF14 and Guild Wars 2. And I wasn't as high up level-wise in Guild Wars 2 to notice a shift, so I don't know if people who were in the loop on all of that, like, I don't know if y'all noticed a change in, like, WoW refugees coming over, and how that kind of changed the game, or, like, changed how people interacted with each other in-game. But in FF14, it was wholesome, and it was also an issue at the same time. It was wholesome because you had a lot of people being like, oh my god, people are actually nice to each other in this game, and the developers care, and people have been helpful and really chill and really sweet and compassionate. And then there were some people who treated the game like it was World of Warcraft and quickly learned that that shit didn't fly with the FF14 community. And, yeah, so, like, there was a mixture of, like, but, like, after a little while, they either stopped doing that, or they, you know, left FF14, so, like, and then the people who actually enjoyed the, you know, people being nice or whatever, like, stayed, and the people who were, like, kind of talking shit like it was World of Warcraft or whatever didn't stay. or they just realized that shit wasn't gonna fly. Like, we weren't gonna put up with it. But that's just what I noticed on, like, my small little, like, corner of the world. I know that there were some other issues in FF14 that people had with the amount of WoW refugees coming over. Again, I think Primal and Ether had more issues because they were known as raiding servers at that time, and I was on what was known as a quote-unquote roleplay server. But again, I was on Zalera, which is not the roleplay hub of that server, so it was a little different. It wasn't the same. I did not witness as many of, like, those little, like, adjustment processes. But yeah, like, I'm sure that there were some people who noticed a lot more adjustment-y stuff and have either horror stories or good stories that I just didn't witness, not being on that, not being on an environment that would have seemed appealing, or not being on a perceived server that may have been appealing to certain things. I didn't know that Crystal was a roleplay server when I joined FF14. It was just the recommended server at the time, and I clicked it. It's not even the server for my region. Crystal is the server for, like, the middle. Again, this isn't really a thing anymore, but when I joined, it wasn't, like, the concept of, like, data center travel hadn't been implemented yet, and world travel was severely limited. I've been playing FF14 for, like, 3 years, so it's been a minute. And, like, yeah, I didn't know about, like, roleplay or raiding or any of that. I just clicked what was recommended to me. And I feel like that happens, too, a bit, but... Where am I going? I am lost as fuck right now. Maybe I need to go there? I don't know, wait, I think I just came from there. No, I'm just full on lost. Okay, let me readjust to where I am. New Kiting City is rough. Okay. You would not know that I have done this multiple times with multiple characters, because I am not spatially aware today, apparently. Ah, here we go. I recognize the book cart. That's the one I want. Alright, yep. That's the staircase I want. Come on, little raptor. Run with your stubby little legs up the stairs. Stubby legs. Little raptor with little stubby legs. Nope, I need to go up one more flight of stairs. Yeah. I mean, I know that Guild Wars 2 didn't get as many refugees as FF did, because a lot of people unfortunately sleep on this game, which I think is criminal. This is a really good game, and people shouldn't sleep on it. It's like super good, and I think this game is actually better than World of Warcraft. But that's a me opinion. That's not a general opinion. But I also don't have the same level of nostalgia a lot of people have with WoW, so I don't know. But like, I think Preach started playing Guild Wars 2, and that's when there were some more people coming in. And I noticed that. I didn't notice it in a guild. I mostly noticed it out in the world. Like, just while I was leveling through, I was watching world chat, kind of. So I mostly just noticed it out in the world, like, people talking about it. And then, of course, people coming back for Secrets of the Obscure and all of that. But I also think people are starting to wake up to Guild Wars 2. I think End of Dragons made people wake up to Guild Wars 2's potential. And yeah, it's just unfortunate this game got slept on as hard as it did, because it's actually a pretty decent, like, it's really decent. And it's very enjoyable. But yeah, like, people sleep on this because it's not like, it's not involved in the level of drama that FF14 and World of Warcraft are involved in. And the thing about drama is it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, one, drama, that can be pretty toxic, but two, like, it does result in publicity. And not being involved in the same level of drama as those games does decrease the publicity. And I'm not saying Guild Wars 2 should go start drama. I like its less than dramatic nature. I prefer its less than dramatic nature. But I am saying, like, it does decrease the visibility of, like, this is a really good game and you should play it, because, like, yeah, it's like, oh, it's not in the turf war of MMOs, when it should be considered a contender. Like, when the whole drama between FF14 and World of Warcraft happened, where people were, like, you know, emigrating to FF14, and, like, there was a lot of, tension and drama about that, and people were, like, going off online about it in just crazy ways. Like, I was over here being like, but Guild Wars 2 and Elder Scrolls Online exist as well. Why don't we talk about that? Like, those exist as well, and I feel like that should be mentioned? Like, it's like, oh yeah, what are you gonna choose? World of Warcraft or 14? I'm like, there's so many, like, I'm an MMO crackhead. I know there's other options out there. Like, but yeah, like, people were crazy about, like, just, it was weird. I was like, it's not, there's a variety of shit. Like, I don't, It was like, if you just Google MMO in Google, you'll see there's a variety of shit. Now, not all of it is good shit, but it's there. Yeah, the daily rewards change, you know, it was a choice. Yeah. I understand the drama around that. I don't think it's a deal breaker for me. I'm a little miffed about it. Is it a deal breaker for me in this game? No. Am I all up in arms about it? No. Am I a little bit like, okay, come on, we could be a little more like I didn't realize the game was gonna change that much, and I think, you know, it does limit progression in a way, because the laurel system, getting those laurels at the end of the 30 days of logging in continuously was super useful. Like, it basically allowed you to get, like, legendary gear and accessories that ordinarily you would not have access to without grinding, crazily. And so it added a level of, like, entry that is now kind of barred, in a way. And that's kind of sad. But it didn't make or break the game for me. It just sort of is like, okay, it kind of feels like a scale back in a way, like you're scaling back the rewards I can get. I do like the mount skins. The mount skins make me happy because I don't like paying for mount skins. So I got one free mount skin when, like, they had their 10th anniversary or whatever. But I don't like to pay for mount skins. So I was like, okay, you know, getting the Griffin skin was fun. Getting, you know, the shoulder skin is fun, all that, you know, the bless emote, whatever. I don't have strong opinions about that. But it was like, it felt like a scale back. Like, and also, they weren't transparent that the other daily reward system was going away. And that's the other thing I think that should have happened. Like, they should have made it very clear that the previous reward systems was being, like, gone away with. If they had made it, I think if they had been a lot more transparent with everyone that the previous reward system was not going to be a thing anymore, I think there would have been a lot less, like, utter backlash. But I'm also like, this is still the first like tier of this reward system or whatever. So they have room to modify it and grow. And if they put the work in to modify this reward system and grow, then I can actually, like, if they take the feedback well and they like modify it correctly and they grow from it, I can see it not being that big of a deal. But the reward system is, again, one of those things where, like, I don't think people outside of the Guild Wars 2 community are talking about it. And, like, yeah, so it's not really, like, a publicity drama thing. It's mostly just, like, whatever, like, Puppies, you're fine. I just want to see what that looks like. That is insane. That probably looks actually pretty cool on Char. But, like, Char generally look really good in heavy armor. I don't like how they look in some other things, but heavy armor they look pretty decent in. The broad shoulders really help out with the heavy armor aspect. Okay, I think I have 2 more hero points.
We need people guarding the streets.
Oh, I love the cherry. I love how this game does cherry trees, especially. Like, that's one of the things I don't usually like snowy zones or desert zones in game. But, the like, Norn area with all the, like, the purpley, like, white snow and the cherry trees was so beautiful. Like, that, I was like, okay. Like, I see you, game. I see you. It was really pretty. And I was like, okay, I don't usually like this, but I agree that, like, that was really pretty, and it generally made me tolerate the snowy areas a little bit. Because usually, like, I don't like it when things are very monotone out in the world. And in most games, snowy areas come off as monotone or bleak. I am sorry, I think the coyotes are out back again. There are 2 coyotes that live on our hill, and there is a livestock guardian dog sort of thing. And anything that looks like a coyote or a wolf, he is immediately up in arms about. Oh. Thank you, Virtuoso, for dealing for that with me. What was I saying? Oh my god, I lost track of what I was saying. Okay, well, I will remember it shortly. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. Him barking, he's actually, he's really smart. So if I snap my fingers, he actually will stop and, like, come over. The coyotes don't make a lot of noise. They actually do not outrank the deer. The deer on my hill actually are, they have the high ground when it comes to, I am falling off the map. I am falling off the map. I am falling off the map. Okay, the deer on my hill actually have the high ground when it comes to, like, the hill. So the coyotes live there, but they don't make noise because the monotone white. I just don't like it. It's a lot. I don't know if it's sensory overload. It depends on the game and the game's graphics. It's more just like it's boring. Like, I get bored, and it's not interesting for me to go through a zone I'm actively bored of, like, walking through. But, like, I remember what I was saying now. there are times when I think the bleakness works for them. So like Garlemald in FF14 is supposed to be bleak. It's supposed to be a bleak, snowy zone. Because it has literally been bombed to fucking pieces in a turf war over a stupid line of succession reasons. That is fine. It's supposed to be that way, and I think it kind of, it really like nails the like bleak, dilapidated war zone, we're all fucking depressed and we're gonna die aspect very well. So I don't mind that type, like when it thematically works. I have played some older games where they did not have the graphics optimized very well, and so you would enter a snowy zone and it was like brightness overload, and that was awful. Like I actively did not like that. But with some of the newer games, and especially games getting graphical updates, it's fine. The only reason I was able to tolerate Corthus' snow zone in FF14 is because you're actively fighting dragon heretics and the music fucking slaps. So I was like, okay, dragon heretics, dragons, music fucking slapping, you know, I can handle this. Like, the snow, it's not my favorite zone. But, like, there's a lot of these, like, dragon heretic knights, and you're basically, you know, you're making friends, you're all this. The airship stuff is stupid. Did not have any confidence in Cid nor Alphino's abilities, but the dragon heretics and that kind of stuff really makes you excited for Heaven's Ward, because you already know a little bit about the culture and a little bit about how quickly you can just get fucked up by these people. And I don't mean one of those things where it's like, oh, they make you die to a character or they make you lose a battle to a character to like illustrate, you know, their strength. I mean, you literally watch a sham Salem witch-esque trial that is like them nearly burning, like them, not burning, but them like nearly launching a guy off a cliff because somebody just says he's a heretic, or like the like littlest thing. So like it's kind of like you get like a little, and then when you're in Heaven's Ward, you kind of already know how dicey the situation is because you've had that little sneak peek in Corthus. So like, and I'm also a sucker for anything involving dragons. Like, dragons are my favorite mythical animal. I love it. So like, getting a whole zone where it's like, you know, there are dragons and you get to fight dragons and the music is amazing, and you're kind of just entering a little brief respite from like gathering crystals or whatever the fuck you're usually doing. Like, that was fun. Okay. Dude, the coyotes know you're domesticated. They do not fear you. They know you're domesticated. They know you're a prissy boy. Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, they know I can't win in a fight with them. I like that skiff skin. It reminds me of Club Penguin. Oh, do you all remember Club Penguin? I miss Club Penguin. Actually, I played Animal Jam more than I played Club Penguin when I was a kid. But, like, I kind of came into that when I was a kid, when Club Penguin was already in their, like, monetization overload phase. So it didn't really... I wasn't as hooked on Club Penguin, but I liked the Puffles. Puffles were fun. Puffle is also just a fun word. Puffle, puffly. There's so many things you can do with the word puffle. Puffle, puffling, fluffle. Just the ether blade ship into a building. But Sitting Province here is just fucking gorgeous. Oh, I didn't even notice this. The, like, fish egg things here. I did not even notice that. That is disturbing. I feel like I should have noticed that sooner. Okay, making my way through. Oh, fuck off, Ether Blades. Y'all are bad at what you do. All you do is crash land in things, blow up shit, and then get stuck in places. And the mentally unhinged are more hinged than the Ether Blades.
Hello, I am the Jade Knight's gatekeeper.
Okay, the scene that happens in this building where you basically have to take a seat and then they like go through a whole bureaucracy thing that's like a parody of waiting at the DMV is fucking amazing. I loved that scene. It was just funny. It was a funny thing the game did. Okay, I'm just gonna look at the time real quick. Okay. So, I think that's gonna be all for me today. We kind of reached the 3-hour mark. Actually, we almost went a little over. And did my thing freeze? Did my video freeze? Huh. I didn't even notice my video capture device froze. Well, probably for the best that I'm ending the stream then, because my video capture device froze, and I didn't even notice that, so that's great. I didn't realize it had frozen. That's something I'm gonna have to work on fixing. It was nice meeting you too. So I am... I should be around a bit later on this week. I'm probably going to do another music video as well, so that'll be out on my YouTube channel. And I will also be... Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel, just the Roan of Arc or Roan of Arc. I'm on Instagram at the Roan of Arc. I have a Discord community page. The link should be there. So there's a lot of people who play FF14. There's a lot of people who play Guild Wars 2. There's some people who play other games. We all kind of mesh and talk. Yeah. And then as always, you know, hit me up if you ever needed anything. I'm just a click away night or day. And as always, eat cake, because the more you weigh, the harder you are to kidnap. And I want everyone to stay safe out there. So eat cake out there, everyone. And you are all valid and worthy, and I hope you have a truly content week. Goodbye, everyone!